Fred, I believe we have that camera view as well there on the E911 tower in Centerville that we can bring up as well. We'll try to access that. We should have a pretty good view of this storm as it's approaching. There's Centerville right now. Well, it looks, I know it's kind of overcast. It's been one of those days very difficult in this particular environment. This is one of those tropically moist environments. It's going to be difficult to spot a tornado with a lot of this being rain wrapped as well as it moves to the northeast. But winds at south at 7 miles per hour. That's one thing I've been watching here for these areas in West Alabama, that south wind as it increases. That's feeding these storms there, and these storms to the south may cut off some of that inflow there in the short term. You can see current wind speeds to the north, 26 in Coleman. We do have some gusty winds. We also have some heavy rain and storms that are happening in areas further north. Right now we're on with you, continuous coverage, tornado warnings for Bibb, Perry, Marengo counties, okay? If you're listening around Demopolis, now Demopolis, this is going to be to the east of you. This one storm that we have at the moment is the same one that moved through New Bern, and that's tracking into southern Bibb County. You can see quite a bit of lightning with this first storm. There it is right there. That's crossing right at Highway 14. This is State Highway 5 south between Centerville and Marion, and it's going to cross right around Heiberger. I mentioned the Sawmill restaurants right in this area, giving you that first alert for where this is going to cross. There's Centerville, Brent, Heiberger, Highway 5, and then south of there we have a second storm coming at us from the southwest direction, moving towards Marion, Vaden, and Uniontown. It's crossing right now. That's Highway 80, Uniontown area. We've got a tornado possibly here moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. We're looking at the BTI. It's jumped from a 4.1 to a 4.4, so this storm is intensifying as it moves northeast. Look at the hail parameters with that particular storm jumped up to 80%, so we are looking at fairly good indicators of some damaging hail with both these storms. What we can do is flip this into future radar mode, and let's try to extrapolate where both of these storms will move. Again, you can see the motion here with the radar southwest to northeast. There's most of this now out of, looks like, far southeastern Hale County. Just want to mention again with that particular storm, actually that's close to New Bern again there, Fred. That one storm down along Highway 61, the one coming out of Marengo County, that's not far from the New Bern area, that second storm, but it may pass just to the south there. But you're looking at a lap showing this moving to the north and east direction. But what we can do is we can go into the future radar mode, and we'll take this and go out the next 60 minutes. And Fred's going to take this step by step and watch both these storms. You can see where they go. So there's 1 and 2. If we follow both of those storms, you can see the one to the south almost wants to kind of move in here towards Chilton County. This one that's moving towards Centerville, you're getting a first alert. This is showing 114, that storm, Shelby County, okay? Alabaster, areas to the south. Not a warning at this time, but if this storm holds together, it's moving in that direction. You can see over the next 60 minutes, you follow that one tornado warning, and that same storm that's been a troublemaker off and on. We've had warnings with this. That's going to take this close to Calera and Alabaster, right in there around Shelby County Airport, if that holds together there and tracks to the north and east. So giving you that early warning as that storm moves north and east right there. So listen up around Centerville, and at this point, the polygon stops right there close to Highway 25, 6 Mile. I would be in the safe place, and certainly you're close enough. You want to be in an area, in a tornado approved safe room, and putting those walls between you and the outside, and staying safe and staying put until this passes by. I think you're certainly in that warning as well. West Blockton, looks like the way this is moving, this is going to stay just south of you. Woodstock, the way this is tracking, that's going to stay to the south of you as well, the way it's moving. But if this holds together, the forecast data brings us right into Shelby County, and that storm there to the south, you can see moving across Perry County. If we follow that one along, that brings that storm in close to Highway 82 between Centerville and Maplesville. So we're looking at 2 storms now moving southwest to northeast. Current conditions on this, Fred, is this the southern, the storm to the south that we're looking at? Yes. Okay. So the BTI has actually dropped to a 4.2 on that. It has dropped just a little bit as it moves to the northeast. Let's get back to live radar view on this. These things moving fairly quickly to the northeast. Again, today is going to be one of those days where we could just see things settle down, may not have a warning for a while, and then all of a sudden we have 2 or 3 storms like this that go tornadic. That's the kind of setup that we have, and it's going to stay like this afternoon and this evening. So just be on your toes today and checking in with us here on WBRC Fox 6 throughout the afternoon as we monitor this setup. Right now, for a lot of us, a lot of rain in areas to the north. The troublemakers that we have, the tornadic storms, are in these areas to the south here that we're monitoring, moving in across Perry and now Bibb County being impacted. We're watching that scene there out of Bibb County. The Weather Service, they are going to continue the tornado warning for They're going to continue the tornado warning for Perry County till 12:45. They have canceled the tornado warning. I know a portion of Hale County was included in that, and Marengo County. Tornado warning has been canceled. I know we have a lot of folks that watch us, and by the way, you can find us on streaming channels. We're on iHeart radio stations here in West Alabama. You can hear our coverage on 98 TXT out of Tuscaloosa, 94 ZBQ, so a couple stations where you can pick us up, but we're on iHeart stations across the state. Several ways to get those weather alerts, and again, you can scan the code. That'll take you to our streaming app. But at this point, we were looking at a tornado watch for most counties that we have across our coverage area, and really in the WBRC Fox 6 coverage area, the one warning that we have is right there in Bibb County. There's the tornado watch. You can see Shelby County included. East Alabama, I still think this will be expanded later on today to include the eastern part of the state and even for areas further south. So this is not just a West Alabama central areas threat. I think everybody's going to have a threat for severe weather in our coverage area. A lot of times I get asked, what about where I live? I had some questions about that this morning, but pretty much anywhere in our coverage area there's a chance for isolated tornadoes, damaging winds, and of course that threat for flooding. But I want to go back to Bibb County and get back to live radar view and track this storm because it is still showing strong indications here that we've got a tornado, and we're going to go in really close on this. Perry County, we have 2 storms, in fact, as we zoom in on this. And the way this one to the north looks like the way the polygon's right there, Centerville's right on the line. Fred, we may want to check in on some velocity data. We'll go in even closer so we can see Highway 5 here and see some of the roadways. There it is. Fred's putting some times. You can see it shows Centerville at 12:42, the track here. This is Highway 5. Centerville's right here. There's Brent. I mentioned around the Sawmill restaurants right in this area. The forest out in here. You go south, you run into Heiberger communities right in this area. That's where we have a lot of that lightning. Looks like this is crossing, Fred. You've been through here many times. This is right there around Heiberger and Highway 5. Yeah. So checking in here with the Weather Service, looks like now strong thunderstorm impacting, looks like North Alabama. National Weather Service in Huntsville, they're issuing some strong storm advisories now for some of those cells to the north. I know we've had some rain, some lightning around Hamilton and places. We're keeping a watch on those storms as well to the north, but at this point we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning for these areas to the north. The storm of concern is this one here that's tracking through, looks like down into Bibb County. Fred, I'm going to let you jump in here for a second. I'm going to check on these storms to the north.
All right, thanks, Wes. We're going to look again at this storm. It is a rather large storm, as Wes has been indicating, and is tracking. Actually, there are 2 storms now, and this is really our second and third tornado warnings of the day. What we're looking at is a storm further to the south. Now, that storm lost some of its characteristics that made it tornadic, so that was canceled just before noon. But then almost as soon as the noon hour rolled around, we had not 1 but 2 additional tornado warnings issued. Again, the entire area. And by the way, the watch area has been expanded further east already. You may have heard Matt and Mickey earlier this morning talking about the Jefferson and Shelby counties were not included in the tornado watch. They are now. So it continues to expand, and no doubt that trend will continue. So we do have this tornado warning, and this leading storm, which is really the first storm that pulsed up and then It's not showing really strong, tight circulation, but it is showing enough circulation that the National Weather Service is concerned. And by the way, when we say you only have a few minutes, literally minutes, to take shelter, you should know that it is moving at about 30, and this has been consistent. 40, we've seen forward speed of 40, 45 miles per hour. That's the forward speed of the storm. So if you live in the Centerville, Brent area, of course, that area, folks that have lived in Bibb County a long time very well remember the famous or infamous Brent tornado. So if you're in the Centerville, Brent area, go ahead now, seek safe shelter. Now, again, put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. If you have a basement, the lowest floor on the interior room of your home is where you want to go ahead now and seek shelter. Now, outside this warned area, you say, well, you know, I live outside the tornado warning area. Well, two things. Number one, this storm has shown, as is often the case in a weather setup like this, the ability to pulse. That means it weakens, it grows stronger again, and so that's what we're seeing is the strength of these storms pulsing up and down. Wes has the AccuTrack radar right now in tornado detection mode, and you see the intensity of the lightning. So if you are in, let's say, southern parts of Bibb County or on up into Perry County, be aware that you don't need to get outside right now, because in these instances, lightning is a very real killer. In addition, with a severe thunderstorm, which we're going to see these supercell thunderstorms as the storms approach, they are very capable of producing gusty winds, which can produce damage over a larger area and are a very real danger. They bring down trees, they bring down power lines. So stay in your safe place. If you have not gotten there yet, this would be the time, especially in Bibb County, as this is the second storm, the second time this particular cell has pulsed up, Wes. And again, the circulation is not extremely tight, but it is enough to cause concern, where we have two tornado warnings in effect for Perry County and for Bibb County. The storm looks like it's moving out right now of Hale County.
All right, Fred, and you know, I was looking at this. There are several areas, it's kind of interesting in here, of rotation. The couple that just really stood out, there was one here close to the Elyards area, mentioned around Heiberger, crossing Highway 5 now, moving into southern Bibb County. That's prompted this warning. Notice we have two polygons. We have one to the north. This tornado, the way it's tracking in that strongest circulation from what I can find here, is going to move between Centerville, Adler area. That's going to put this right here along Highway 82. That's a trio area. That's going to be in the path of this. So giving you the first alert for this one storm. Again, here's Centerville, here's Brent. We're certainly going to have some heavy rain. We're going to have some rough weather here. We're going to have some gusty winds, some intense lightning as this moves through, maybe some small hail, but that circulation was right in this area here, tracking through southern Bibb County. That's going to put this around Trio and eventually could impact places like Randolph, the Lawley area. There's Bibb Mill in the path. So giving you these first alerts for areas in the path of this. So there's one to the north. Secondly, we're looking at one to the south. You can see that grabs my attention. These areas to the south in here where we see this little kind of curl showing up there in the radar, but this is where we had one circulation. There was another actually in here towards Radford that I was seeing a few moments ago, but definitely a severe storm. Yeah, certainly going to have some strong, damaging straight line winds possible with this as this moves across Marion. Everyone watching me now in Perry County needs to be indoors at this time. Wait on this to pass by. This storm to the south has the potential at any moment, especially since the one to the north is kind of having to compete a little bit with this storm to the south. The one to the south could produce a tornado at any minute here as it moves north and east. But we have a couple of areas, a lot of circulations in here. They're not overly impressive, but they are strong enough. And with this kind of environment that we have today, these are certainly storms we don't want to mess around with. We want to make sure everyone is in their tornado safe place until these pass by. Actually, there's one area Fred's showing. You can see BTI. That's one number we've been looking at. It's been right there. Every time we see a storm here producing a warning, that number's been jumping up to like a 4 to 4.1. It's now to a 4.7. So there's a lot of areas, certainly some spin going on with these at the moment as these storms track. You can see that northeast at 45 miles per hour. So where is all this going? Again, this is lifting in now towards Shelby and Chilton counties. We're going to have to watch this closely. We're under tornado watches. That watch has been expanded there through 5 o'clock. We'll probably see that continued past 5 o'clock for a lot of areas, but a couple of warnings that we have at the moment. We have 2 reports in the Gallion area. That's in southern Hale County there. Fred, looks like some minor damage. Looks like a couple trees down in that area. So we have certainly had some strong winds with both these storms as they've moved through. What Fred's doing, this is the next 60 minutes, that 60-minute advantage. We'll loop this, we'll go back and show a lapse, and you'll see where these storms actually, that's showing 125. So if we plot the path of both of these storms, just follow along with me, you can see where they're going. There's into Chilton County and then Shelby County. That will put this south. There's Birmingham. Both of these storms, the way they're oriented, it looks like they stay south of Hoover, south of Birmingham, pushing towards Alabaster, Calera, Clanton. Now, there's no guarantee at that point. They will be severe. They may weaken and perhaps cycle through once again, but we do want to let you know so you can kind of plan here over the next hour. That's when these storms are going to be lifting in towards Shelby and Chilton counties. Both those storms moving in this direction, so giving you that first alert. Centerville, we're still watching it. We're monitoring the reports here coming in from the National Weather Service at this point. Fred, have we checked the debris detection with this as well to see if we might have a debris signature? I might be able to actually access that. Let me see if I can bring that up here. We'll bring in some of the products here from the radar site. Let's see, there's Birmingham, and let's check out the correlation coefficient. Just look at this, and just looking at what's going on here with the radar, not seeing a strong indication at this point that we do have. Yeah, not seeing an indication of a debris signature with this at the moment. Just look at some of the radar products. There's, again, looking at the reflectivity with this. Right now, at this point, Harrisburg to Adler, we could have a tornado in this part of the storm as we look at this. There it is right there. You see that? That's south of Harrisburg. So again, if you're watching there south of Harrisburg, we're looking at a possible tornado now crossing right in this area. That's northern Perry County, Abercrombie area. This is Highway 5 running south. This is Highway 82 back in here. There's Trio. Centerville is here at the top of the screen. So the way this is moving, that is going to be very close to Centerville here as it moves to the north and east. No guarantees at this point. This is not a confirmed tornado that we're looking at this time. This is radar indicated at this point. Again, there is Centerville. This is what I'm concerned about right here, moving out in northern Perry County, and it looks like that is going to be tracking in towards the Vic area and Trio and crossing Highway 82. That is Selma Road, south of Centerville. If you're watching me around Abercrombie, Selma Road, need to be in that tornado safe spot right now. Get to that safe place, stop what you're doing, and seek shelter at this time. If you're getting this message, help text, spread the word. If you have any contacts in this area, friends, family, loved ones, always help spread the word during times. I believe Fred has some new information. Let's head back over to Fred. What was that? Go ahead, Fred. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just going to, Wes, I was just going to point out this is a live look at Centerville. What I'm seeing here is some lightning associated with this particular storm. And of course, you're included in the tornado warning now, and the entire area under tornado watch. But this is a situation that you do not need to discount. I don't see a lot of I am seeing heavy rain there in Bibb County. So there in Centerville right now, you should by all means seek safe shelter. You are under a tornado warning, and a lot of folks that are watching in other areas are saying, well, what about our area? Well, this is the area of greatest concern. Now, there is a lot of lightning associated with this particular storm, but we'll take in a little closer, and it looks now as if the track of the storm would take it just south of Centerville, and it's worth noting here that this is not one but two. The first storm that pulsed up, the tornado warning was allowed to expire, and then as it moved on into this very, very unstable atmosphere in southern Bibb County, the tornado warning was in essence reissued. Then a second warning further south. I know we have friends down at Marion Military Institute, and there are folks down in Perry County that are watching. This storm skirted just south of Greensboro, between Greensboro and Marion, and has moved on into Centerville, or is moving towards Centerville, I should say. So let's go back, since Centerville is in the track, and take a look at what what we are looking at in Centerville right now. I have seen some flashes of lightning, and again, as Wes mentioned early on in our coverage, you see a sudden intense increase in the lightning strikes. Sometimes that can indicate a tornadic touchdown. We haven't seen, as Wes checked a moment ago, any debris signatures associated with this, which would indicate that damage is actually being done on the ground. So far, the rotation, so far as we know, Wes, has simply been in the clouds, and it's been a rather broad rotation, but the rotation has been there all along, and so we are now under our third tornado warning of this particular severe weather day.
Yeah, a lot of areas in here really get our attention, Fred. You see these little circulations that are showing up. You can see just a lot of rain with this at the moment, but this is a strong indication, that little curl that's happening there south of the Abercrombie area. You look, you can actually see in the radar signature we could have a tornado here. This, what you're looking at, this is right there. That's Bibb County and Perry County, right on the county line. That's the Bethlehem area. I want to back the view out just a little bit so you can see locations here. Let me see if I can tilt the map, get it more oriented north-south. So here's Centerville. This is the tornado now. Fred, the way this looks, this actually, see here how far this is. That is about close to 10 miles there just south of Centerville. You can see I put a distance on there around the Abercrombie area. So this is close to the Centerville downtown area. That we're right there on the edge of that polygon. The way this is moving, that stayed just right there on the county line or just over into Perry County. And again, the way this is moving, I think active trio areas along Highway 82 are in the path of this. Antioch area, get to that safe place now. The way this is looking on radar, I don't like that with that little curl showing up. This could be producing a tornado at the moment as that tracks to the north and east. Again, that is moving. Now it looks like it's past. Here's Highway 5. I mentioned Elyards, Harrisburg, Heiberger. We are out of the warning now. The threat has passed to the east of us. This again is tracking along the county line. That could have a tornado. You can see it spinning up right there across northern Perry County. That's about to put this across Bethlehem, and I mentioned the Selma Road area there as it moves into southern Bibb County and towards Highway 82. We're also watching this other storm that's to the south, and this is the one that moved through Vaden. The warning has expired for Uniontown, no longer in that tornado warning. There's Uniontown, Highway 80, mentioned Sugarville, Newbern, got some rain. Warning has moved on to the east of us. Again, two areas that we're monitoring at the moment. Let me just reset the scene here. Just want to show you the wide view of how all this is evolving, and you can see these storms now as they start to fill in here across. This is that first wave that Fred was telling you about moving into this afternoon here across west Alabama. A lot of this surging in from the south. The two storms that are producing the warnings right now, that's Perry and Bibb counties. Those are both lifting in towards Shelby and Chilton County. So both Shelby and Chilton counties need to make sure that we're on alert here in case a warning is issued. Both of those storms, they've shown a history of just constantly, we've seen them weaken and then kind of cycle around once again. I know it's a lot of rain, a lot of storms to the north at this point. We do not have severe thunderstorm warnings here. These storms are staying below severe levels, just a lot of heavy rainfall. We will need to watch for that increased risk for flooding in these areas to the north where that heavy rain continues to fall. But just a very stormy, rainy setup. But again, if this is getting your attention around Jones Chapel, our friends around Coleman, and even around Birmingham, points northward, Tuscaloosa, back into Pickens County, non-severe at this time. What we're tracking are these storms that are now moving in. You can see the rain really starting to pick up here. Fred has our first alert sky vision active in Centerville, 68 over 68. It's a rainy setup, really coming down now. Those visibilities dropping again where that tornado would be. The way it's moving right now, it's staying just south here, the downtown area. We're looking back into that southwest direction. You can see it's almost impossible to spot any sort of tornado today in a situation like this. Very rain-wrapped, very tropically moist setup that we have in place across the state. And interesting there that we can see the wind conditions. I know the winds have been quite gusty out of the south. We're likely going to see those winds pick up out of that south direction. You can see now Coleman, even though it's a non-severe storm, we've got winds gusting now to 30 miles per hour in here. So those wind speeds really ramping up there. 22 miles per hour in Tuscaloosa. So quite gusty and winds picking up along with that heavier rainfall. But Fred, let's go back into Centerville. Let's get to Perry County. There's Tuscaloosa there, 68, winds south at 13. Again, looks very similar to Centerville, although the rain not quite as heavy here in T-Town, but we do have gusts up to 24 miles per hour. Just keep in mind the entire area at the moment, we're in a tornado watch in effect until 5 o'clock, so everybody has a risk. I know, as we mentioned last night, some of the worst of the weather expected, at least those peak tornado ingredients. Right now we're seeing those areas to the south there where we have the warnings, but now the rain really coming down here in Bibb County, and certainly if you were about to travel there south to Centerville on Highway 5, Highway 82, I would stay put. If you can stop there at one of the rest stops there close to Centerville and just wait on this storm to pass. The lightning, you see that? It is popping right now, Fred, in the Centerville area. That is not a good sign. That is a strong storm. That's probably associated with that warning there that's off to the south of us. Let's get back over to radar and let's take another look at that. I did not like the way that was starting to show up on the reflectivity. We kind of saw that storm curling around there, and yeah, you see the lightning's really flared up there close to Centerville, but that storm and that part of the storm to the south, we're looking at this from, I believe we have, let's just go to Birmingham radar, Fred. Let's see, I might be able to pull that up here on, let's see, here we go. I want to get to the Birmingham radar. Yeah, this is still showing right in this area. Strong indication. Let's look at the, yep, it's got some rotation right there. Let's give you some first alert times on this. Again, I mentioned the Trio community, 1248, okay? 1248, critical times here. It's 1236. This is going to be crossing here, possible tornado around Highway 82 and impacting part of Centerville here to the south. You can see there it is right there, moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. BTI still holding steady. They're showing about a 4.3, fairly tall storm. What we're seeing also with these storms today, they have a low base, so that's also a factor that kind of weighs into those ingredients for tornadoes in these areas to the south. Real low clouds, very difficult, especially over the horizon, trying to spot a tornado in a situation like this. 1254 around 6 Mile, looks like Bibb Mill 1258 on that time of arrival. I noted the way this storm is moving again, that's going to put this in Shelby County there, close to Calera and Shelby County Airport. Hopefully it's a much weaker storm by the time it arrives in Shelby County, but it is moving in that direction. I'm letting you know right now that Shelby County and also that storm to the south will be moving into Chilton County, both of those storms. Again, this is moving into southern Bibb County, Duncanville, Tuscaloosa, this is staying south of us. West Blockton, Woodstock, this is south of us right now. This is south of Green Pond, this is going to stay south. It looks like south of Bessemer, the way this is moving, south of Tannehill, all those areas there around McCalla. This is going to be moving towards 6 Mile. In fact, Fred, we also have a view there out of Montevallo. That's going to be an area we'll need to keep a watch out as this storm continues there off to the northeast. You can see Ashby, Briarfield area as it moves to the north. Hopefully, we'll see this warning expire. You can see the tornado warning goes through 1245, so it's 1238 right now. Still somewhat, certainly not the most impressive radar signature with respect to a tornado that I've seen just looking at some of the data, but enough going on here that really has my attention, and I really don't see at this point that this has fallen apart. I don't see that at this time. It's pretty much kind of held its own here as it's moved across Perry County. I've seen a little change based on the past several scans. So just letting you know what I'm seeing here as we examine the radar, as that new data comes in, we get those fresh scans as this moves northeast. That's one warning. I know for a lot of folks here, you've got your weather radios going off, you've got multiple alerts happening, and there's not just one, there's two warnings that's happening here. We have another to the south, but just hang on. Hopefully we'll be able to sound the all clear as these move to the north. But the weather in Centerville, look at this. You can see right now the winds picking up, and we could have a tornado here not far from Centerville that's tracking through West Alabama. This weather, it's just too unstable for this time of the year. Yesterday we had 75 degrees in parts of the area, and with these kind of ingredients that we have in place, again, this is a live look from Centerville. We have tornado warnings in effect here for Bibb County. The worst part of this storm is passing just south, but we always need to give or take. I know we look at the radar data, we focus in on where those paths are going. Keep in mind, this is still, we're looking up into the storm, we're looking aloft, we're looking higher up. That radar scan coming out of Shelby County Airport, as you look higher, that can cause a little bit of displacement. We want to give or take some distance around that warning and make sure everyone is in a safe place at this time until this passes. That's why I've been mentioning Centerville. I know some areas here you may not have gotten a tornado warning because of that warning polygons very specified. However, if you are watching me here in Bibb County and especially in Centerville, look at that wind, really gusty. You can see how we're getting the raindrops there being thrown back at the camera as those winds ramp up out of the south direction. I'm not buying the calm conditions right now that's coming in on the anemometer reading. We likely have some strong winds and a very strong storm. But get to that safe place again, southeastern Bibb County. This is tracking in your direction. We could have a tornado right now. We just saw those strong winds there. First alert sky vision. We've got another warning to the south that's moving through Perry County, and both of these, actually there is a new tornado warning, so that has been extended now. That storm, there it is, moving through southern Bibb County now, about to cross Highway 82 between Antioch and Active. Highway 82, the Trio area. This is closing in on us. Again, there's that tornado that's approaching. I mentioned Trio, giving you the first alert. That is approaching Bibb Mill, and now we have a warning that includes parts of Chilton County, the Manuka Park area, and mentioned south of Calera. The National Weather Service, they have expanded that polygon now to include parts of Chilton County. So gave you that first alert. Right now, go ahead and enact that tornado plan. Jemison, Center Hill, Wessington area, Highway 82. This is going to be crossing right there around Highway 82 and then moving into Chilton County. That warning for Chilton County goes through 1:30, okay? So your weather radio is going off, your first alert weather app here in Chilton County. Tornado warning until 1:30 right now. Clanton, this storm is staying to the north of you, but it's in here. I mean, we're seeing we've got an area that could produce a tornado right in there, almost like a little hook. You see that? You can see it in the radar data. That's it right there, and it's tracking to the northeast. That's going to be tracking between Active and the Antioch area. Trio is right in here as well. So Antioch, Active, Trio, and then I mentioned 6 Mile. I would be in a safe place at 6 Mile. This is a dangerous storm that's moving through at this time. Frequent lightning, some intense lightning. This is Highway 139 right here, Ashby. Lawley, Randolph areas. If you're watching, it's going to cross here too, giving you the first alert. Ashby, the Lawley, Randolph areas, Highway 139. Get to that safe place. This is WBRC Fox 6 giving you that first alert right now as that storm tracks to the northeast direction. Very dangerous storm now moving through Bibb County. And then we have another dangerous storm, and it's right in this area actually. That's more into eastern, it looks like Perry County at this time. Fred, I know we have, gosh, it seems like 1, 2, 3, 4 areas in there where we could have some rotation, and need to watch some of this development here around Selma. You can see around Valley Grand, this storm in particular here, if this starts to kind of tap into some of this instability, this one storm further south that's passing Selma could end up in southern Chilton County. So if you're watching me south of Clanton, places like the White City area over towards Verbena, Highway 31, keep a watch on this just in case we see another warning that may be extended there into southern Chilton County. I want to throw it back over to Fred now. Fred, we're looking now at Bibb County and Chilton County for tornado warnings. We're kind of jogging between several warnings at this time, but the bottom line, anywhere south of Birmingham, especially over the next hour or two, folks need to be on alert.
Yeah, Wes, we're just tracking where the additional warning popped up, or the location of that rotation. And initially it was just southeast of Centerville. That's the area where the Okmulgee District of the Talladega National Forest, that's where the National Weather Service actually detected that rotation. So if you're familiar with that area, Wes has mentioned the Sawmill Restaurant there. Of course, that goes out toward the Okmulgee District. But now, just a few moments ago, we were seeing lots of heavy rain moving through Centerville and Brent. It looks as if the rain has died down, but I understand City Hall closed there, so just out of an abundance of precaution, you can see there aren't any cars out there at the moment. So if you have business at City Hall there in Centerville today, it has closed because of the threat for severe weather. Kind of to reset everything, I know a lot of folks may be tuning in just now and saying, well, what's going on? We've had multiple tornado warnings all to the south and west so far. The original tornado warning for south of Demopolis, and that storm tracked and kind of lost its rotation, fell apart. But then we've had multiple warnings since then, and it looks as if this storm in Centerville may be moving on up at least toward Shelby County, and these tornado warnings continue to be expanded. So the tornado watch has also been expanded. I know if you're watching, you're saying, what about my area? Well, Marion County, Winston County, Coleman, Blunt, and now that is extended down into the tornado watch does include Jefferson County and Shelby County, which it did not, as Matt was explaining earlier this morning. It does, of course, include Bibb County, where we're getting the heavy rain, the gusty winds, and the lightning. I also saw one report down in Perry County, I believe, where there was some confirmed damage. So these storms are real, folks, and they are producing damage. Now, I mentioned the areas basically along I-65 and to the west. If you are watching me to the east this morning, or this afternoon now, I guess it is, we've kind of morphed over into the afternoon. We're talking about Chilton County, Coosa County, on over into Tallapoosa County. This is a flood watch, which began just a few moments ago at 12 noon. And of course, we're seeing those potentially flooding rains moving in this direction right now. So just be prepared. Remember, don't try to cross areas where water covers the roadways. And as Wes has been showing you the live pictures from Centerville, this heavy rain coming down can produce a lot of accumulation in a very short period of time. And this is going to be an ongoing event. The first round of rain obviously is occurring now with the potential for severe storms. Once that system lifts off to the north and east, another system ahead of a cold front will likely produce more potential for flooding rain. So Wes, this is a long duration event, and everyone area-wide should stay aware of what's going on in their area.
That's right, Fred. It looks like that one warning to the south has expired. Fred, if you want to pull up we have a camera at the University of Montevallo. That's going to give us another good view of this storm now as it's passing to the south of Centerville. Just got a report from Mayor Mike Oakley out of Centerville. Said everybody there is in their safe spot right now. Said it's rough. We had some strong winds that moved through. You can see now as that passes by, the tornadic part of the storm would be crossing right now at Trio that I talked about a few moments ago, right there along Highway 82. Again, Perry County, the warning has expired. These areas to the south, we have more storms that are showing up. You see this? A lot of these have our attention right now. Any one of these at any moment could start to rotate more aggressively and could produce a tornado warning. Just keep that in mind for all these areas to the south. We need to watch this one little cluster here that's starting to flare up as these move to the northeast. At any point, they could go tornadic. So between now, next few hours until at least this group of storms passes on by, just make sure you're close to a place of safety in the event a warning is issued. Again, the only warning now that we have, since one has expired for Perry County, tornado warning, Marion and Point South, excuse me, that has expired. So the only warning that we have at this time is for Bibb County and into Shelby County. Jemison and Calera now included in that warning. You can see there crossing Highway 139 around Lawley, Randolph. I mentioned around, excuse me, Woodstock area, and also back towards Jemison, moving to the northeast direction and now passing Centerville there in areas off to the southeast. That's Highway 82 between Maplesville and Centerville, where this is located. At this point, though, the radar signature, at least the base scan, doesn't look quite as impressive to me at this point. If we put a track on this just to look, actually, I don't know if Let's do a manual storm track on this. Moving to the northeast direction here at roughly 40 miles per hour. We're looking at the Oakley area, 1:04 p.m., Ashby 1:05, Briarfield 1:07, Wilton at 1:12. Listen up. I know and one of the reasons I'm going through all these times, we have a lot of radio listeners out there. Once again, if you're in Thomas Mill, 12:59, Bibb Mill 1:01, Oakley 1:04, 1:05 around Ashby. These are times of arrival for a possible tornado here. Briarfield 1:07, as well as Mars Hill and Centerville around 1:12. Those are the first alert times there as this moves north and east. I mentioned Ashby is right in this area. This is Highway 139. There is the Briarfield area, Montevallo in here as well. And I believe Fred has the view there. We'll go over to Fred in the Weather Center. Fred, looks like the rain's starting to pick up there as well.
Yeah, there's been some intense rain and the skies have been darkening steadily. This is our Montevallo camera and you can see some heavy rain in this area. Of course, we've been showing you the live look from Centerville. It looks like the heavier rain has moved through Centerville now, but this is what it looks like in Montevallo, and these northwesterly winds will likely be picking up. In fact, area-wide, I want to show you some of these wind speeds. So you may not be in a particularly warned area, but these winds associated with this system can produce damage. In fact, in some instances, more widespread damage than we would see with a tornado, where the damage would be more concentrated and isolated. But we're getting winds of 20 to 25 miles per hour from Tuscaloosa all the way up to Coleman. And these areas, of course, are included in the tornado watch. So in spite of the fact that we have, and rightfully so, been focusing on these tornadoes to the south, you should know that the entire area, basically from I-65 back to the west, is under a tornado watch. Also, the National Weather Service is reporting some confirmation now, Wes. You know, sometimes we're showing you rotation and we say, okay, are we getting debris signatures? Are we seeing an actual touchdown? And now there have been reports out of Perry County of some property damage there. No reports of injury, thankfully, but that is the storm which Wes has been showing you, which moved out of the Linden-Demopolis area, skirted really between Greensboro and Marion, and now is continuing on toward Chilton County and to Shelby County as well. And incidentally, the tornado watch has been expanded to include Jefferson and Shelby County as of the last hour.
All right, let's get back to radar here, Fred, and let's track this thing. Still some indications that we have a tornado now, as Fred noted. Possible debris signature. Let's bring that up, and we may be able to note that here in areas just off to the west, perhaps, of Highway 139, maybe a small debris signature in here. The Weather Service was noting. This is Highway 139. Tornado is in this particular location here close to Antioch. Let's take a look at the storm relative velocity, and I want to circle where the tornado would be. That's it right there, the circulation. You can see that's crossed near Trio and Active. That's moving to the northeast direction. Let's get in even closer for some of these views. Let me zoom in on that. That's going to put this right around Bibb Mill, Oakley, Ashby areas. This is it, and you can see they're moving to the northeast. Still indication there, Fred. We got some rotation with this now, moving north and east. Oakley, we said shortly, right there around 1 o'clock for that time of arrival. You're looking at Chilton County now included in this warning. Jemison in this area there to the south. There's Manuka Park, Wessington areas. If you're watching me around Dry Valley, get to that safe spot as well as this approaches. But anywhere there around Jemison, the intermediate school, the elementary school areas, all around Jemison, make sure you're in a tornado safe spot. We're getting quite a bit of thunder. I know it's kind of ominous in a lot of parts of the area at the moment as these storms march on through. Again, this is what the big picture looks like as those storms march east. We have basically a lot of heavy rain, nothing severe at the moment for Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and points north. For folks watching here from Hoover to Chelsea and into Shelby County, the storms are coming into far northern Chilton County, and the way this is moving, again, this could impact parts of Shelby County there to the south, perhaps maybe over towards the Wilsonville areas. If this holds together there, moves northeast, you can see some of this heavier rain also now moving in Gadsden, Anniston, making the push in towards East Alabama. But back to the live view, we have a tornado warning still in effect for now, it looks like Chilton County, and also in effect for Bibb County. Centerville, the threat has passed to the south and east of you. This warning is going to be in effect until 1:30. Looking at a severe storm capable of producing a tornado near the Talladega National Forest, and basically they're pushing through the southeast areas, as Fred noted, crossing Highway 82. I think this one is going to stay north of Maplesville. That's the way it appears right now. So for folks here listening in Maplesville, this is staying north of us. Still that little curl that's showing up, very evident on the radar data as it moves northeast there, moving towards now Jemison, and that's going to be crossing around 65. This is the Shelby County Airport. You can see now for this, at this time, Shelby County has been left out of the warning. We have some reports of some trees in the roadway there around the Gallion area down in Hale County. So a possible tornado there, Fred. Some more information coming in from the National Weather Service as we track this storm there to the north and east. Let's go back to the current view and looking at where that rotation is. You can see there, wow, seeing some strong rotation, Fred. You see this? Strong indications here now that we have a tornado that is crossing. That's what we're looking at here around Bibb Mill. This is Highway 139, Oakley to Bibb Mill. This is about to cross Highway 139. Let's get into some of these roads. Shady Grove Road, okay? You're in the path of this right now. This is a possible tornado. Seeing some strong rotation with this at the moment that is tracking right here around Shady Grove Road. You're looking at southern Bibb County. If you're in Shady Grove Road, if you're in Oakley, if you're along County Road 73 and County Road 107 around Mars Hill, the Bessie area, getting into Chilton County, make sure you're in that safe place. I've mentioned this several times. Just try to put as many walls between you and the outside. If you don't have a storm pit, storm cellar, storm shelter, concrete reinforced safe room, try to get to that bathroom, interior room if you don't have a basement or a low spot. And if you live in a mobile home, I can't stress enough, you need to be out of that mobile home. It is a dangerous place to be with all the flying debris and these tornadoes. It's often the tie downs associated with the mobile homes that causes structures to fail. And make sure that if you're thinking about leaving your home, you don't want to be in a vehicle caught out on the roadways and something like this as well. You need to stay put, especially here if you're in southeast Bibb County. It's to the point right now you need to stay put and seek shelter where you are if possible. But the way this is moving now, it's looks like Shelby County may be left out of that warning for now. It's just northern Chilton County right now included in the warning. I know we're zoomed in really close. Let me back the view out so you can see what we're looking at. We've taken a lot of the clutter off the map so you can actually see the area of concern and where the tornado would be, which is right here around Bibb Mill. Let me draw that on the map for you again. That is right around Oakley and Bibb Mill. Here's the tornado. And you can see now it's still showing that indication. See right there the legend, weak to strong rotation here, crossing Oakley and Bibb Mill. If we follow along, that's going to take this right here around Manuka Park and the Wessington area. Let's give you some times of arrival so you can seek shelter. These areas to the north and east here, okay? It's moving, we're showing 40 plus miles per hour. And there's a look at first alert times. Mentioned the Kelowna area, 110, Wessington 110, 113, the Ocampo area, Dry Valley around 113, Rocky Mount 115, and this shows Calera there at 118. So if this holds together, we still see that strong indication. There's still a chance, as we noted, that parts of Shelby County could be included here as this moves further north and east. But there's some areas south. You can see there's some rotation showing up with some of these areas here that we need to be ready in case we see some indications this may go to the next level here across parts of Chilton County. Let's go back to the radar view one more time. A lot of rain. This one area right there that's close to Plantersville. If we follow that that little area there, looks like Maplesville close to 111. So if you're in Maplesville, if you're watching around the Adams area over the next 15 to 20 minutes, just be ready to seek shelter here in case we see another warning that's issued. That one storm that's moving in from the south and west, that's moving northeast at 45. In fact, let's look at the BTI showing a 4.4 on that compared to this storm to the north. Couple of areas there we're watching, but the one that's prompted the warning is here around Bibb Mill, moving to the northeast. So the Weather Service actually... Okay, so we have a warning that is coming. Maplesville, you're about to have a tornado warning for that storm right there. That one area that I pointed out, giving you the first alert. We have a warning right here for this storm that's moving towards Maplesville, Pletcher, and Adamsville along Highway 82. So we're about to have 2 tornado warnings now for Chilton County. We have that one to the north. We have the one to the south. The National Weather Service about to issue a warning. So you're about to get the alert on your First Alert weather app in Maplesville of a tornado warning that's with this storm now around Plantersville. That's moving to the northeast. Let's check out the velocity on that. And yeah, right in there, just enough rotation. Certainly seeing on the shear rate here, we've got some spin that's happening. And you can look at the signature right there around the Parnell area. That is showing that little bit of a hook that's showing up there on the radar with this, and that gets our attention as well as that moves to the north and east. So a couple of areas now where we're talking about warnings being issued here. We have Chilton County there, one near Maplesville. We have one area to the north that is around Jemison and Calera, and we're going to have another warning coming soon for areas to the south. Also, the warning for Maplesville, that will be until 2 o'clock. So a tornado warning until 2 o'clock for this one storm that's coming into the south there. We should see that pop up very soon as we go back to the radar view. There it is. So a couple of areas, 2 tornado warnings that we now have. That's in effect for our area. That is for Chilton County. Let's go to the north here, kind of reset the stage for other parts of the area. You can see we have some storms now. You're getting some heavy rain now moving in around the Hoover area. We're hearing the rumbles on Red Mountain as storms move in, but the rain really coming down here around Bluff Park, around the Hoover area. This is Mars Hill that's in Jefferson County, but you can see there to the north around Hoover and into the Bessemer area. Just a lot of rain, a soaking happening at this time, and just nothing that really stands out in these areas. Just looks like a large shield of rain around Adamsville, back up towards Jasper and Parrish, but these storms so far, we're probably going to have some gusty winds. I was noting the Weather Service here for Marshall and Jackson counties and areas to the north. They have issued some strong storm advisories, but these cells to the north are staying below severe levels. I know it's pouring right now in Coleman. You're probably hearing the rumbles. We've got the lightning happening out there, but everything to the north right now, thankfully, is staying below severe levels. And what we see to the south, we have these storms kind of gobbling up all this instability down into parts of Chilton County. You know, yesterday we saw some indications that this could happen. You know, we could see a greater risk in areas to the south, but you know, I just don't like to play around with 70-degree temperatures in January. That's just very unseasonably warm for this time of the year, and that's one of the reasons why we were kind of concerned about this being a first alert weather day and for tornado warnings. And you can see to the south, obviously there are parts of the area where things have really taken off as far as the tornado threat. And Jemison, now Chilton County, it looks like anywhere from Calera to Clanton, you need to be in a safe place at this time. We have 2 storms coming at us from the west-southwest direction. We'll let you know once these pass. Bibb County right now, the way this is moving, most of the county is in the clear with the exception of far southeast areas. I mentioned a few moments ago 6 Mile. And you can see that storm is passing south of 6 Mile and actually looks like it may stay just south of Montevallo. There's 6 Mile, here's Highway 25. So this is kind of following areas south of the Highway 25 corridor for the most part at this time. Let's take a look at velocity one more time. We'll go to look at the Birmingham radar view and see if we have indications. And yeah, still right in this area around Oakley. We mentioned it's 1:03. We gave you that first alert time. That is right on the mark. Our system said 1:02, crossing Highway 82, and right there around Oakley. But you can see the times for that. Let's go back to the. I want to actually circle. Where we have the tornado would be probably right in this area. So if you're watching me here, Plyer Road, Bibb Mill, County Road 73, that is close to where this is crossing. As Fred noted a few moments ago, we were seeing some indications of some possible debris in that area. That is moving northeast at 43 miles per hour and still a very intense storm. Notice that 1 to 10 scale there, that BTI showing a 4.6 had jumped up. So still a very intense storm there as it moves north. And just just keep a watch on that value. That can tell us a lot there on how these storms are evolving, how they're strengthening. I need to take off the storm track here. Let's go back to the view that we had on this one storm, and we will take this off the screen and go in. Yeah, Isabella area. Actually, I've seen this area near Maplesville. We were watching one area to the south. It looks like the Weather Service actually warned on that one circulation that was just to the north of us in Maplesville. So Maplesville looks like the worst has passed us now based on what we're seeing with the latest signature. There's still some circulation around the Parnell area off to the south, but a stronger indication. You see how the red's more vibrant right in here as we look at this. So a lot of areas that we're having to juggle through, not the classic setup by any means that we see around here. These are not just one lone supercell storm after another. We're seeing a lot of this clustering with a lot of rainfall at this time as it moves to the north and east direction. Isabella area now crossing right there around 191, moving to the northeast. Fred, do you have any new information? I know we're watching now two storms in Chilton County. It looked like that one south of Maplesville looked kind of impressive, but the Weather Service, they're more concerned about this one that's just to the north. They issued a warning. Looks like that's moving towards Thorsby. This storm that's near Maplesville, they're moving to the northeast direction.
Yeah, and moving rapidly at about 35 miles per hour. It's worth pointing out. So if you have not been affected, let's say you are east of I-65 and you say, well, everything's been west of I-65, that probably is not going to be the case for the rest of the day. So we have those two counties included in the warning now. This is a live look at Chelsea at our Boardman Car building, and believe me, the winds have really been picking up here over the past 10 minutes. So I've been watching this, and you can see it is very rainy there. We've noted that a lot of the rain has moved out of Centerville, the Centerville-Brent area, but there were some storms there. Also, we were warning the National Weather Service had a tornado warning initially, the very first one that included the area in Hale County between Greensboro and really the edge of Perry County, between Greensboro and Marion. In other words, now we are getting confirmation from Bibb County, or excuse me, from Hale County EMA that we indeed do have some trees down and some roads blocked there in Hale County. So if you had travel plans, by all means, especially in these areas that have been affected. Now, Wes has been talking about this, and now, especially if you're in East Alabama or areas north of, say, Chilton County, you still have time to plan. Get under something sturdy, a helmet for the children, or protect your own head. Do not get below heavy objects which are on the floor like appliances, fireplaces. These can collapse in the event of a tornado. So some checklists on how you should prepare now. Wes has also mentioned a couple times, if you're in a manufactured home, go ahead and plan now on where you can go in a short period of time, because these storms, I've seen forward speed of these storms through the morning at 40, 45. This particular storm Wes has been talking about is moving at 35 miles per hour. That's the Thorsby storm, and so you have very limited time. So once again, we're starting to experience lightning a little more widespread, getting lightning, of course, in the Birmingham area now, and seeing a more intense storm system. So once again, go to an interior room on the lowest floor, a basement if you have one. If not, seek shelter inside your home. Very often, the superstructure that's involved in the construction of a bathroom, you got the pipes there, that makes that room oftentimes, and particularly a bathtub. You can get there in the event of a storm that is approaching your area. And so Wes continues now with our coverage on this First Alert Weather Day.
Yeah, Fred, looks like Bibb County's been canceled from the tornado warning. Now we have Chilton County that's in the tornado warning at this time. Let me just double check on this. We have a lot of warnings. So that one to the north that was for northern Chilton County has expired. The one near Manuka Park that we were talking about, that one has expired. So folks watching this there around Jemison in those areas, but we need to keep an eye out. Jemison's been kind of right there on the line. We're still seeing those circulations being indicated here with this part of the cluster of storms that's now moving in. It doesn't look like a very strong rotation with this. Well, there we go. Yeah, it's showing near Isabella. We could at least have some damaging wind gust here south of Thorsby to Isabella, now crossing around Highway 191 there. Highway 22, 191, if you live anywhere in that corridor between 191 and Highway 22, you need to be in your tornado safe place. We'll sound the all clear. Bibb County, we're in the clear now. That warning has expired so far. It looks like, I know I was mentioning southern Shelby County. It looks like that storm has weakened somewhat to the north. You can see there the rotation trackers much weaker for these areas. And listen, this stuff goes scan to scan. So you're watching it live, and that's why we stay wall to wall with something like this. When you're tracking storms like this, they're kind of like rogue missiles, and every scan tells us new information. So we're getting that new data coming in right now and tells us a lot, and it's amazing just how quickly we saw this kind of weaken. However, these storms can cycle through again. They go through life cycles. So even though we don't have warnings to the north, we need to stay weather alert just in case. The severe threat is far from over. There could be more storms or storms that re-intensify as these move north. But what you're looking at here, I've got just the areas where we could have tornadoes, the rotation tracker, and we're filtering out all the clutter on the radar so you can see the greatest concerns for where a tornado could happen. And that's what you're looking at right here, crossing through Chilton County and between Thorsby, Isabella. That storm is going to pass over Thorsby. Looks like they're from Jemison to the Clanton area. Let's go back to radar view, and I'll show you what it looks like here. You can see a lot of rain, and you know, this one to the south around Maplesville and Adamsville still has my attention there. It's moving off to the north. Just looking at the radar signature, a lot of these storms to the south, they all look quite ominous. You can see some individual storms more discrete further south you go, and any one of these at any point, even back in here close to Demopolis and points south, any one of these could suddenly start to rotate and produce a tornado. There's a new tornado warning you can see there. Yeah, the storms to the south. So that's the kind of setup that we're in today. This one, it looks like Chilton County not included. You know, we'll watch south of Lake Mitchell, these areas back into Coosa County, just the way this is oriented. If this holds together, that is Autauga County, a tornado warning now in effect for Autauga County. That is until 2 o'clock. So Autauga County until 2 o'clock. Certainly not a good time to be on the interstate here between Calera and places like the Deatsville area. You want to stay put if you can, and just avoid traveling through all this. A couple dangerous storms. In fact, we could have 2 tornadoes, Fred, about to cross Interstate 65 there south of Calera. Jemison right now, this is passing over Thorsby, just south of you, not far. I know we have a weather watcher there, Lynn Hall. We'll kind of get an update, see what's happening here weather-wise with this as this moves to the northeast. But there's Isabella. This is Highway 191. This is Highway 22 to the south. There's Highway 22. Clanton's in here. The Ascension St. Vincent's located right here. That's off of 145. That's the Highway 145 exit. So the St. Vincent's Medical Center, I believe we have a Jeff State campus that's down here as well. So all these areas are in that tornado warning polygon. There's Highway 31. There's Thorsby, Lomax. You're in the path of this. Possible tornadoes right in this region embedded in here. And we'll try to filter through that and show you one more time. Yeah, right in this area we still have some spin that's going on. That is closing in on Thorsby. Let's get in here for a very close view on this. Let's take this off the screen and want to zoom in really close here. There's Thorsby, and it looks like Oak Street. Thorsby, if you're on County Road 50 here, I mentioned this is looks like the strongest circulation there, not far from Highway 22 and areas to the north. But Fred, the way this is moving, looks like that's going to move right over the town of Thorsby.
Yeah, that's been the area of concern that we've been tracking. And Wes, outside this immediate, which does call for our immediate concern, a lot of folks are saying, well, everything's been south of me so far, so we appear to be in the clear. Not so. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has expanded, and this is the second expansion of the day, one around midday, and then early afternoon here, the Tornado Watch. I know all the warnings have been to the south in Hale County and Bibb County and across Chilton County, but now the the Storm Prediction Center has expanded the tornado watch. So if you've been watching us all morning in East Alabama, you say, well, we're not included in the watch. Initially, Jefferson and Shelby County were not included. Obviously, we're being impacted now down in Shelby County particularly, and now the tornado watch has been expanded. So basically, our entire viewing area from Marion County over to Cherokee County, south down to Tallapoosa, Coosa County, up to Shelby County, Bibb County, Tuscaloosa County, Greene County, Hale County, and Pickens County, and then all the areas in between are now included in the tornado watch. So go ahead and make your plans now on what you do if a tornado threatens your area. This is going to be a multiple or at least a dual event in that the heavy rains will cause flooding as we use the term training, very much like a train running along a track. And these storms, we have seen exactly that today, where the storms have moved over a track. And so we do have a flood watch if you're watching us, and I know you are, down in Chilton County, Coosa County, and Tallapoosa County. So Wes, the tornado watch continues to expand as we go through this particular event.
Yeah, Fred, I'm just looking closely here at where this possible tornado is going to track. And one thing I'm happy to report, we don't have multiple reports coming in of a tornado that's producing damage at this time. Now, that's not to be said we just don't have any reports to pass along to you, which is a good sign at this point. Hopefully, this is just maintains its radar indicated. We have had some reports of some trees down in parts of Hale County from these same storms earlier. We will get some gusty winds. There is some strong winds showing up in here. You can see the abrupt shift in the wind direction. We go from red, those winds away, to the winds moving towards the radar site. So there's a strong inflow into these storms, and we have that backing wind as well. This is moving towards Thorsby, and this is the Peach Tower exit. So very familiar site there, very familiar landmark for folks here. So this is where the tornado would be with respect to the Peach Tower that's here in Clanton. So the Peach Tower, there's a rest area here along the interstate. I mentioned the Ascension St. Vincent's down here to the south as well. Lomax. The Chilton County Water Authorities in this area here as well, south of Thorsby. So just trying to name off some areas here that you're familiar with respect to where this is tracking. This is moving to the northeast. There it is, crossing Thorsby at this time. Possible tornado here, and we're at least going to see some strong winds. Let's go to the triple threat on this, and we'll see if we can evaluate some of the actual wind speeds that are showing up. And well, at this point, we're just seeing from our triple threat indications of large hail and winds there in that 30 to 40 mile per hour range based on what we're seeing here with this. So that's a good indicator. Let's go to debris detection, see what we got showing up there, and look at our rotation, and yeah, still strong indication. See that strong rotation tracker showing up right around Thorsby. Let's get in here really, really close. That's Highway 31. There's County Road 31 as well. Let's take a look at the there's Lomax, Pine. If you're watching around Pinedale Road, if you're watching around Lay Dam Road, if you're watching around Old Henry Road as well, and Lomax, you're in the warning. You're going to at least get some gusty winds. Looks like the strongest rotation is right there over Thorsby and about to cross here at County Road 13. That's around Oak Street that I was talking about a few moments ago. Looks like that's going to be tracking also close to the out around Franklin Street, Oak Street. Looks like that may be moving towards the Collins Chapel Fire Department area, actually, Collins Chapel. So the way that's moving, that's going to put this very close to Collins Chapel Fire Department here as it moves to the northeast. But that's the strongest indication that we see here at the moment. Tornado warning in effect for Chilton County until 2 o'clock. That is the only warning that we have active in the WBRC Fox 6 coverage area, but a much stronger storm here to the south as well. Strong indications of a possible tornado here looking at those first alert times. This is one over Otaga County, a warning until 2 o'clock. You can see the BTI on this one. We've been seeing 4s all day. That's a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. So this one here, it's definitely one of the strongest storms we've seen all day. A 7.3 BTI on that. We could have a tornado here. Let me check. Fred, are you seeing anything from the Weather Service on this storm?
Check. No. but we are getting reports
Yeah.
of flooding by the Hoover PD on Highway 31, so travel certainly not advised right now. I do know that. And there was a report from down in Marengo County, just to show you the severity of these storms, that a mobile home was destroyed and the front door was actually lifted off the house, or ripped off the house. Now that was that initial storm that came through down in Marengo County, moved across Hale County, and the one, basically the same cells we're continuing to track. But flooding already a concern, Wes, according to the Hoover PD on Highway 31.
So we've got the flooding around the Birmingham area. We're hearing the thunder here. We got a lot of rain. This is mostly a flood threat at the moment that's impacting places like Birmingham, areas north, and even into East Alabama. Some of the worst weather that we're seeing at this point. We're watching this storm here, seeing some reports out of Marengo County and also Anderson, Alabama. This is from the Huntsville Weather Service, Fred, reporting significant tree damage in some of those areas, possible tornado in the Anderson area. So there's reports starting to come in from the storm spotters, the National Weather Service, but you can see here where the warnings are with respect to Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and Anniston areas to the south. Let's get back to the, let me see if I can take some of this off the screen here, and we'll go back to the radar view just so you can see the broader picture here one more time, what it looks like. A lot of rain in these areas to the north. You can see there Chilton County, we have the tornado warning. You get north into Shelby County, it looks like that roughest weather staying just south of us at the moment. A lot of rain happening in here, and some of the models indicated yesterday what might happen is we might get this cluster of storms here to the south that moves through and produces some warnings, and then we might catch a lull in the activity, and then we'll have a final round of rain and storms that moves through later tonight. Hopefully this has an impact. Can't make that promise, but hopefully it will have an impact on the setup for later on today. We'll just have to monitor the radar trends here over the next few hours as this moves south of us. But at this point, we're looking at a tornado watch that is in effect until 5 o'clock. And as Fred noted, more counties have been added across East Alabama as well. You're looking live here at Jemison and Clanton. We're staying on with you here on WBRC Fox 6. It's coming up here on 121. This warning is set to expire. The latest warning that's been issued for Chilton County at 2 o'clock. So we have both Autauga and Chilton County under tornado warnings through 2 o'clock. The one that really stands out, though, to the south, and if you follow along, this storm is going to be moving towards Coosa County. So areas from Rockford Point southward, be on alert here. Marbury is close to the path of this as well. If this holds together, this would make it into areas like Equality and those far southeastern communities there in our coverage area. So watching that one over Autauga County, and we may be able to actually, we'll take a look at the future radar mode on that. Again, you can see that warning. Let's go back to the view here over Chilton County. Again, looking at this possible tornado now that's crossed near Thorsby. I mentioned near the Collins Chapel area. There's Gap of the Mountain. We're getting some strong winds anywhere from the Peach Tower north. There's Collins Chapel, Union Grove. Thorsby, Collins Chapel, Union Grove areas right now dealing with some of the worst of this storm at the moment as that crosses. There's Interstate 65. So obviously not a good time. I know there's a rest area in here. Folks need to be off the road at this time. Off the road. This is a tornado warning. You do not want to be in a vehicle, and especially on Interstate 65 there, and let this storm pass by. It's moving at about 40 miles per hour. Just stay tuned in on our weather app. Stay tuned in on our streaming channels, iHeartRadio, where you can hear us. We will let you know once this passes by, but don't chance it. Let this pass by. At the least, I think we're going to see some strong wind gusts in here that could blow over high-profile vehicles. Let this cross the interstate there as it moves to the northeast. But the track on this, let's go back to the velocity. And looking at right in this area, still that inbound, outbound signature showing up, that spin, it's there right around Mineral Springs. And we've got a good view on this. I mean, we're looking at this from Shelby County Airport, so just right up the road. So we're actually looking lower into the storm, and we've got that strong indication there. I wanted to see if I could actually circle on the screen. Let me see if we can get this to, there we go, right in this area, right here. So right around Mineral Springs and the rest stop here in Chilton County, south of the Thorsby-Jemison exit. That's where the tornado is now crossing Interstate 65. This is that warning. Let's take this off the screen that was showing up. Let's see if I can clear that off the screen. That was down in Autauga County, that one warning. But this is going to be crossing. This is Highway 145. I mentioned the Peach exit is right there, so that the Peach Tower exit is south of this, where this is crossing. But those strongest winds right there around Mineral Springs and Collins Chapel in Chilton County, that is moving towards Wildwood Shores, the Jumbo area. We may have seen that warning expire, but that is the area that's had us concerned. We're at least going to see some strong winds, and looks like Fred.
They're continuing the warning.
Oh, okay.
Chilton, yeah.
Okay. So yeah. There we go. So I believe we turned off the warning. There we go. So yeah, that warning's still active right now over Chilton County. So they're still holding Chilton County.
Yes.
They're watching this storm also there over that was showing that strong shear signature over Autauga County, Fred. But you know, today is I mentioned yesterday, it's not the classic setup. You know, typically a lot of times we get storms, they move in, they're out, and the severe threat's over. This is one that's very challenging to time out because we're going to see these clusters of storms. I still think later on tonight we could see another wave of storms that moves through the area. The one warning that we have at this time that's moving through Chilton County, there it is until 2 o'clock. This is the broader view that you can see, just showing you what the wide view looks like. You can see how there's still more storms back in here. It's going to be a while before the final round pushes through. So I think to the north here, especially with all this heavy rain that's falling, that flood threat has really ramped up, has really increased. But a little bit of a lull perhaps setting up here soon, but this will all cycle through well into the evening. I really don't see this threat ending until after midnight, well after midnight for parts of our area. Just the way this is looking, we have pushed back that end time as these storms march through the area. We're going to stay right here with you because we do have an active tornado warning, as we always do here on WBRC Fox 6. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt, along with Meteorologist Fred Hunter. Fred, I want to head back over to you, and you know, we've been kind of watching things this morning. We saw those storms, they weakened a little bit, then re-intensified. This one over Chilton County right now, certainly not the time to be on Interstate 65.
No, and you mentioned the rest stops. There's one right there on each side of the interstate, whether you're traveling north or south. And there's some really nice folks there. I've stopped there a lot of times. They'll be glad to give you shelter. Now, speaking to what Wes was talking about, and I hate to be bringing up bad subjects, but on April 27th, I recall very vividly, early in the morning, we had a tornado that came through Tuscaloosa County. And then we were live at noon here on Fox 6, and a lot of the people were saying, we already had our severe weather, it's already moved through. Well, of course, we know that was not the big show. So if the severe storms and the heavy rain and the lightning have passed through your area, don't let your guard down, because that is what Wes was talking about. And the tornado watch continues to be expanded. So if you haven't gotten any sort of severe weather, maybe just some lightning in East Alabama, you are now included. Maybe you were headed out to work this morning and saying, well, Etowah County, Calhoun County, Talladega County, we're not included in this watch, or St. Clair. Well, you are now. So the tornado watch is in effect. In addition, Wes also mentioned we're talking about multiple rounds of rain. We have seen exactly that as we've gone through the late morning and now into the afternoon hours. The greatest threat right now for flooding still appears to the south, but that's the area we're watching for a potential for tornadoes right now. Now that's the tornado that Wes has been tracking, the one moving through Chilton County. We continue to track that. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You see, up here in northwest Alabama, you got the rain earlier. You say, well, it stopped raining here in Marion County, or maybe in Pickens County or Fayette County. Well, you got more rain on the way. This is just part of the show. The initial round of rain will be followed by yet another. So maybe Pickens County or in Tuscaloosa County, the rains move over into the eastern part of the county. Of course, we've still got some thunderstorms going on. So the entire area remains under the enhanced to slight risk category. So don't let down your guard. Whatever you do, review your safety plan and just be aware of what's going on. Now, some of these, we haven't talked a lot about hail, because we've been talking about the damaging winds, but it is going to be late tonight or perhaps early Wednesday morning before the rain leaves us entirely. And after that, of course, things will settle down. This is the other potential I want to talk about, going right back to Wes for an update on the tornado warning. But we are looking at very heavy rainfall potential over the next 24 hours, especially in areas to the south and east. That's the area which is included in the flood watch, and so we're looking at areas to the south and east, Chilton County, Tallapoosa County, Coosa County, 2 to 3 inches of rain, 1 inch to 2 inches of rain outside that. So West, just kind of a reset so that people, particularly in West Alabama, where in some areas the rain has stopped, don't let their guard down, and especially as we go through the overnight hours.
All right, Fred, some great information there, and we need to be alert for that threat of flooding for this evening into the overnight. Right now, we have a tornado warning still in effect for Chilton County. I want to go to a view that I have here. This is from Chilton County, and Madison Smith sharing this. This is right there near Collins Chapel, about a mile from the interstate exit. And so this is right there where that possible tornado would be located. Obviously, you can see some strong wind gusts in that area. That's just crossing. That is in Chilton County. Again, of course, we want you in a safe spot right now. I can't stress enough, we want you in a tornado shelter. We want you off the roads. We want you out of mobile homes in the path of a tornado. That first 60 seconds, the first 60 is the critical when it comes to a tornado warning. So seek shelter. And now, if you are in a safe space, if the storm has passed, again, I know a lot of folks always send information on private messages and social media, but a great way to source your information to us that really helps out, that ground truth and those storm reports, is via the First Alert Weather app. You can submit that information to us. But again, your safety comes first. We want you being safe out there, and watch as these storms pass by. So again, as we go back to Chilton County, the Weather Service hanging on to this warning now, the possible tornado. It is evident here now around Jumbo, about to cross. If we had a tornado, this is where it would be, crossing Highway 145. Collins Chapel and Thorsby, the threat has ended for you. This has now moved to the east. I mentioned Collins Chapel. Clanton, this is staying north of you. You're still going to have some strong gusty winds. I will point out those straight line winds are going to move in anywhere from the Peach Tower exit I was showing you earlier and point south. Those winds are going to pick up, but this is where that tornado would be, around the Jumbo area at this time. So again, if you're watching around the Jumbo area, let me move this so you can see. I want everyone to be able to see these roads. There's County Road 8. There's the Jumbo area, County Road 67. That's passing just north of Gap of the Mountain. And it looks like the tornado has now just crossed around 145, Highway 145 now around the Jumbo area. This is where that tornado would be, right in this area. That's about to cross around County Road 8 there as this moves on to the north and east. Again, the view coming in right now from parts of Chilton County, where we just had this storm just cross. This is from the Collins Chapel area. That's the view there in Chilton County as that storm has crossed. And one thing I was noticing, I'm not seeing large hail, at least in that particular video there as that storm passed, but certainly not the kind of weather you want to be on the interstate in this situation as this storm tracks to the east, and still some heavy rain that's now impacting there along Interstate 65. Mostly a lot of rain for a good portion of the WBRC Fox 6 coverage area at this time as these storms march on to the northeast direction. We're watching Chilton County through 2 o'clock on this warning. I've got it circled where that tornado would be. That is moving towards Wildwood Shores. This area is back in here around the Coosa River. Lay Lake is in this general vicinity, so anywhere from Lay Lake and along the Coosa, there's the Chilton Yellowleaf Creek Mill. That's one of those areas, Fred. Yes. Yellowleaf Creek Mill. I've got a lot of photos from that area. If you're around Yellowleaf Creek Mill area, you are in the path of this tornado. So giving you that first alert there in Chilton County. That's one area I was trying to think of, but that's where this is located at this time. Again, south of Calera, north of Clanton, moving to the east. That's going to put this over towards Yellowleaf Creek Mill. That's going to put this over towards the Lime Springs Church area, right there around Jumbo. Let's go in for a closer view. I'll try to zoom in on this. I've got to take some of this off here. So using the interactive menus, as we go in a little bit closer, you can see the roadways. There's County Road 8. I was talking about Jumbo, Yellowleaf Creek Mills back in this general vicinity. There's the Coosa River. So Lay Lake is just not far from here, just to the north, in fact. Fred, this thing looks even more impressive right now based on the scan. I know we're looking at it from Shelby County Airport, but there's a possible tornado right there passing to the east now of Jumbo, and that is not far from Lay Lake. Again, this is tracking to the east direction. This warning set to expire at 2 o'clock. Watching to see if the Weather Service is going to continue this.
They said, Wes, they said they were not inclined to continue it beyond 2 p.m. But it is right over Lay Lake Dam. That's an area that a lot of folks know about, and of course Yellowleaf Creek Mill, a beautiful venue there. So it does look as if it will go until 2 o'clock, but probably not beyond.
Certainly have a couplet here. I mean, it's showing up here on the radar. Looking at the shear on this, very strong rotation showing up at the moment as that passes there around County Road 8 and moving over towards the Coosa River. There's Wildwood Shores. This is the Coosa back in here. And as we mentioned, there's Pine Grove Village, Dogwood Point, areas out here along Lay Lake. You can see there's the possible tornado at this time. But the Weather Service at this point, they are going to continue this through 2 o'clock on this tornado warning. I mentioned Yellowleaf Creek Mill, mentioned over towards the Lay Lake area along the Coosa River. Looks like this may stay south of, it's going to stay south of
Clanton.
Yeah, south of Columbiana, and it looks like most of Shelby County. Also, you know, this one storm to the south over into Autauga County has weakened a little bit. Fred, doesn't look quite as impressive as what when it first prompted that tornado warning, but anywhere along the interstate here, we got the heavy rain right now impacting outside of these two storms. You can see just a steady flow here of storms moving in from the west direction. It is about to continue pouring. Actually, we're probably going to see some flood issues here across Chilton County with these storms kind of training there, moving from west to east across the area. Heavy rain up around Wilsonville as well, but very localized. That's the thing, you know, with these tornado warnings, that very localized impacts in those areas, and that's mostly isolated now to the far north and eastern Chilton County at this time. But the Weather Service, they are going to opt to allow that warning to expire. You know, the one thing about it, you know, we can really tell a lot, Fred. We start getting reports in and what we're seeing as far as ground truth. And we've had a couple of reports, I know over into Marengo County, damage to a mobile home there. This storm in particular, from what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing a lot of traffic here on the communication channels out of Chilton County, so that's a good sign at this point. So hopefully this will continue to behave as it moves on to the east direction, as well as those storms to the south. But lots of wet weather to the north. Again, I've got the map kind of tilted. Let's move things around here so you can see. And one of our weather watchers, Fred, just reported got some sunshine there in parts of Marion County. Yeah. So that's the thing, is we'll probably see some areas here. We break out into some sunshine, we warm up again. Unfortunately, we're not going to cool off and the severe threat ends. This sticky, humid, kind of unseasonably mild air is going to be with us for the rest of the day and well into this evening. That's why we think we could see some more storms well on past sunset tonight.
Yeah, and in point of fact, Wes, to emphasize your point, if folks have been watching, we showed you the storm that moved through Bibb County, and you could see things are much calmer now. Now, we did get a report earlier that City Hall was closed, so if you have business at City Hall in Centerville, you'll have to put that off. But conditions have certainly improved, but don't be lulled here into a false sense of security. That Tuscaloosa, of course, just getting heavy rain so far, and as you can see right now, the heavy rain has stopped, and that's what Wes is talking about. You see the clearing skies, heavy rain in Walker County as well. That's our Young Jewelers camera. Still some heavy rain going on over in East Walker. All this rain is moving basically from southwest to northeast. Now, Wes was also showing you that storm moving out of Chilton County. It's about to move over into Talladega County. Now, it'll be south of, initially south of the Childersburg area, but this is a live look at Talladega County, and you can see kind of the ominous skies. The heavy rain has not reached that area yet, and the situation is improving as basically the visibility was down to zero with our Chelsea camera. But Wes, let me take one moment. We always say have multiple ways to get your weather information. Of course, we always mention the WBRC Fox 6 First Alert Weather app, but should this immediate area go under severe weather warnings, tornado warnings, our iHeartRadio media partners will be with us. They're in Gadsden, they're in Tuscaloosa, and a number of those stations in Birmingham. So if you lose electricity, have a battery-powered radio, and you can keep updated with what we're saying here on Fox 6. Wes?
Yeah, Fred, I want to jump in here. The National Weather Service, they've expanded that tornado warning now to include Coosa County. That will be until 2:30. The National Weather Service noticed that tornado located over Lay Lake Dam, or about 10 miles southwest of Talladega Springs, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So again, that is for this storm. You can see that warning has been expanded now to include parts of Coosa County. So this is crossing right there around Lay Lake. That's where we detected that possible tornado here moving to the north. And let me just show you, they're also extending northwest Elmore County. Looks like is going to be included. Tornado warning for Elmore County until 2:30 for that one storm there to the south. So things still quite active in areas to the south of us. And this is what it looked like a few moments ago. I want to show you this view from Collins Chapel. We got some more photos in, and this is kind of ominous here. This was the view as that tornado just before, or possible tornado crossed the interstate there. We might have a possible funnel cloud view from this. This is from Madison Smith there, the view there close to Collins Chapel. This is in Chilton County, and that could be what we're looking at there, is maybe a possible funnel cloud with that storm there as it crossed, and you can see very calm conditions there just before that arrived. But that was a look. It's still kind of difficult to see. I need to know a little bit more specifics about the location, but that's the storm from earlier that crossed right there around Interstate 65. Again, if you're in Jemison and Thorsby, the threat is to the east of you now, and I need to update my little circle that I drew. We've been tracking this tornado. We'll go in for a closer view once again. Let's take this off the screen, and I'll show you this warning. That's for Coosa County. There you go, until 2:30 on that. Blue Springs, Gold Branch, Weogufka area, you're included in this as well, giving you that first alert. There's a look at the track on this. Let's go in really, really close, and that is crossing the Coosa River at this time. Looking at the shear on this and the rotation, and very strong indication right now that we could have a tornado. You see that extreme rotation showing up on our system. That is crossing near the Coosa River, Hidden Valley areas. Fred, let's keep a watch on the communication here with respect to what's going on. It looks like this is going to be crossing right there around Lay Lake areas, moving to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour, east-northeast direction. We could have a tornado here that's crossing the Coosa River. I mentioned around Lay Lake. Get to that safe spot. If you're getting those alerts, that warning's been issued. As I always say, that 60 seconds, the first 60, that is the critical time. Make sure within 60 seconds you can get to a tornado safe place. You can see now Hidden Valley. This tornado is about to cross Hidden Valley as it moves to the east-northeast direction. Looking at the warning now expanded into Elmore and Coosa counties for two of those storms that we're tracking in areas south. Again, this is south of Birmingham, way south of the I-20 corridor. It looks like this is maintaining a track across our far southern areas, but again, we have a lot of folks here watching us right now in Chilton County and in Coosa County, and we want to give you that first alert. We're going to stay on top of this as the storm tracks to the east direction, but that is crossing. We have one that's crossing in Lay Lake, one that's crossing further south. closer to Elmore County and moving over towards Wetumpka. This storm at this point, Fred, you may want to go to, we have a camera at Oak Grove and Sylacauga. We may catch a view of this storm that's coming in from the south and west, so we'll monitor this one now that's moving into Coosa County. And you can see the tornado here, or at least some strong damaging winds possible that just crossed the river. A lot of times, when you get close to the rivers and the waterways, you get that flat surface. Those winds can really ramp up there along the lakes and rivers, and that just kind of enhances. A lot of times we can see those wind speeds sort of maximized in those areas, so at least some strong 40+ mile-per-hour winds as this storm crosses there and now over Hidden Valley. But you can see most of this is now out of Chilton County, so hopefully soon we'll be able to sound the all clear even for far eastern Chilton County. This is staying south of you in Shelby. This is moving towards Weogufka. If you're over towards the Flag Mountain area, Flag Mountain, I mentioned the Hidden Valley Highway or County Road 55.
The Coosa County, confirmed 3/4 inch hail and a tornado warning. Apparently an observed tornado there. A confirmed tornado near Lay Lake, and that is south of Talladega Springs, Wes. Just giving you an update. And by the way, these storms continue to move northeast. This particular cell at 35 miles per hour.
I want to look here at Weather Service. We're watching. So there we go. You can see the polygon has changed color because we do now have a confirmed tornado. This could be the debris signature that we're looking at here coming across. We just saw the extreme rotation right here on WBRC. You saw that really ramp up as this crossed. There's Hidden Valley, and I'm just going to step over here, Fred. I want to step over here with you and grab the controls because I want to loop back and let's take a closer look here at the debris signature on this, and I want to loop it back here really quickly. We might get a good view on this. Let's go back to Chilton County, and let me.
A lot of debris, yeah.
So. Yeah, right in this area. I think we might have a small debris signature, perhaps. That's the tornado right there, though, Fred. See that? So Coosa River, Hidden Valley areas. We could have had a brief touchdown right in this area. Seeing that little pixel right there, that might be some debris signature that's showing up. But that's what. That's what we're seeing right there when we saw that extreme rotation. So if we follow that and we plot this, let's get up to date on where that's located right now. We'll check out the velocity, and tornado is going to be right in this area, Hidden Valley, and then moving to the north and east at about 40 miles per hour. So there we go, Fred. So we're looking at Weogufka, close to 2 o'clock. We're looking at Stewartville, again, giving you those times of arrival. Keep a close watch on this. If you're listening, Stewartville, 2:07. Fred, I think that view that we have from Oak Grove is going to give us a good view of this. That's Lake Joy around 2:11, Hallman Crossroads there around 2:12. So again, a confirmed tornado here now in northern Coosa County. Chilton County, we are in the clear. This has passed. This tornado threat's now in the northern Coosa County, northwestern Coosa County. You're getting that first alert right now in Weogufka to seek shelter. We have a tornado that's closing in. These seconds right now are critical that you get to that safe place at this point. Again, looking at that now, there's Weogufka. This is the Hallman area, Fayetteville, Stewartville, Talladega Springs, and Sylacauga tracking to the northeast. Trained storm spotters reporting damage along County Road northwest of Alabama 43, so that's going to be there further to the east. We've got another significant tornado debris signature, Fred, in the Deepsville area. That's going to be with that second storm there that's impacting areas further south, but we're seeing a debris signature there. So tornado warning, observed tornado located at last point near Lay Lake, but the storm has passed now. It's now moving across far northwestern Coosa County at this time. This is going to be out along County Road 55, Weogufka. the Estelle area, Holly Springs, Union Springs areas there. This is a live look from Oak Grove. This is going into Sylacauga. What you're looking at to the south, that is the Marble Quarry off to the south. Many times when you look in that direction, you can see where a lot of that dust is being kicked up from some of the winds there, quite gusty. But the temperature is at 69. It's still kind of soupy out there. We've got the storm fuel, but for a lot of what we've been seeing here, most of the area, a lot of clouds, a lot of rain. The lightning happening, though, looks like we just saw a couple of flashes there. But this is south of Oak Grove. That tornado and that possible storm will kind of be moving past this view, actually, as we look. That's back towards Flagpole Mountain, so you know what I'm talking about here in the Oak Grove area, looking back towards Flagpole Mountain, back in that general vicinity. This is going to be tracking towards Fayetteville and Stewartville. So we want to make sure in those areas you're ready to seek shelter in case that warning is extended on into southern Talladega County. But at this point, Weogufka is in the path of this. Actually, Stewartville as well in the path of this, the way it's moving. Holly Springs, Union Springs, and the Stewartville is right in this area. There's Highway 231, there's Sylacauga. So this is where the tornado would be. Actually, Fred, looks like we may need to update our little circle. Still seeing that that couplet that's showing up there across Coosa County. Let me grab the controller here as well, and I'll also go back over. I believe we've got multiple radars pulled up here in the Weather Center, so we don't leave a storm unattended. We're going to make sure we stay on top of this for you. We don't miss anything, but we're analyzing multiple storms. And again, the one warning that we have, this is something new. You may notice some of the polygons on our television screens change colors, and that's because it goes from red to purple. That's an indication of when we do have a confirmed tornado. But more of a just looking at this, it's more of a line structure you can see that's kind of developed here. There's another confirmed tornado to the south. That's south of Rockford. Keep an eye on this. If you're around Lake Martin, be weather ready here in case we do see a warning that's issued. That one storm that's moving to the northeast, that's going to be around the Riddle areas at 2 o'clock. Again, we're tracking another storm for folks listening on the radio. We have a tornado warning far northwest Coosa County, another tornado warning over Elmore County. That's the one that produced a very intense debris signature, and a observed tornado that's crossing the Coosa River further south. That is going to be around the Riddle area at 2 o'clock, the Speed community around 2:08. The path of that storm takes that possible tornado in, if it holds together, in a little bit closer to Lake Martin and places like Eclectic. Okay, so if you have contacts there in Eclectic, never hurts to call, text, say watch these storms that are moving in from the west. The Deatsville area, very strong indication there as well of a tornado. Coosa County and Rockford, this tornado, we've got a warning north of us and south of us. Looks like the way this is tracking, the worst parts of these storms will stay north and both south of where we're located at this time. Again, looks like this one's moving towards Stewartville and also the Weogufka area. Let's see here as we examine some of the velocity properties. Still seeing that spin. It's amazing. You know, you look at this and you see a lot of rain, but what you can see when you start looking at how these raindrops are moving within the storm. Let me see here if I can try that one more time just to show right in this area. That's where that possible tornado is right now, around Marble Valley, and moving to the northeast direction about 40 miles per hour. Strickland's Crossroads. You see there Strickland's Crossroads. Let's get in even closer. That's County Road 56. I mentioned County Road 55. So County Road 56, County Road 55, that is Coosa County Road 56 and Marble Valley Road. That's where this is crossing, Marble Valley Road, and we're approaching Strickland Crossroads. If you are anywhere near Strickland Crossroads in this area, get to your tornado safe place. That is approaching from the southwest. There is Prater Road. If you're watching me around Prater Road, this is going to pass between Strickland Crossroads and Prater Road, moving to the northeast, giving you some first alert times. I mentioned Stewartville. There it is right there, Stewartville in the path of this. Alabama Highway 231 there to the south. So if you're in the Stewartville area, make sure you're in that tornado safe place. Stewartville in the path of this, and once again, we do have some of those camera views. We'll go back to that view, and as this gets a little bit closer, we might have a view of this thing south of Sylacauga. There's the camera angle you can see is looking back in this direction, so we're going to have a pretty good view. I know there's going to be a lot of rain here, but we'll see what happens as that passes by. But that's Strickland Crossroads. Here it comes. Weogufka actually looks like that may stay just north of us there. You can see as we get in for a closer view, I mentioned Weogufka a few moments ago, but the way this is passing, it's now turning more towards Strickland's Crossroads and Prater Road. If you're watching me there again around Prater Road, giving you that first alert for this storm. Holly Springs Baptist Church. You are right there close to this, Holly Springs Baptist Church and Highway 55, 56, Coosa County Road 55 and 56. Those are areas under the gun right now as this moves northwest. There's the Equality area showing up at 213. I believe that is, let me clear some of this off and go back to a, there we go. So here, I believe that was a storm to the south. These are the updated times for this storm. Marble Valley, right now, I know we talked about Marble Valley. You can see it shows Stewartville, 211, okay? Stewartville area is giving you the first alert, 211 in Stewartville. Get to that safe place, 5 points, 213. The Moon community around 213 as well. Strickland Crossroads, and that's approaching you. This thing is moving quickly here. See, it's already passed by. There's a possible tornado right there crossing just to the east of Marble Valley. That's a possible tornado, and that is closing in right now. Strickland Crossroads giving you the first alert. There's County Road 35 as well in the path of this, and I mentioned around Prater Road. There's Gold Branch, Unity, Weogufka to the south of that tornadic circulation at this time. This is moving towards Strickland Crossroads. There's, again, some of those first alert times. BTI, some of those storms that we've been tracking all day with tornado warnings showing a 4. This one up to about a 6. That is an intense storm. We're going to have some gusty winds out of this, possibility of some severe hail as this moves to the northeast as well. And there's plenty of lightning. I've just got that turned off here because there's a lot on the screen. I want you to be able to see where this is going and what you're looking at. We'll reset the scene here quickly. This is the view across the area. You can see a broad flow of showers. We've got this first wave of storms here in areas back to the south. There's some more heavy rain and storms. I know we're breaking into a little bit of sunshine here to the north, which isn't necessarily a good thing because that instability is going to start building again for these areas back to the north and west. But it looks like maybe a little bit of a lull, but this is going to be an ongoing threat for this afternoon and evening. And unfortunately, it's not a one and done sort of setup. It's going to be a situation where for the rest of today, there's going to be some downtime, and then there's going to be times where we could see 1 or 2 warnings again pop up. Things may kind of cycle through again. And also late tonight, it's probably going to be after midnight before we get this out of here with respect to the storm threat overnight. I know it seemed like we might see a lot of this coming to an end, perhaps West Alabama by 6 o'clock, but I think even for West Alabama, we're probably going to have some storms through late tonight and through midnight. But here's a look once again at the broad view. A lot of rain, nothing severe in the Birmingham area at this time. A lot of rain around Coleman and into Blount County. Just watch these areas to the north for a possibility of a flash flood threat. Gadsden, all this is staying south of us. Anniston, we're going to have some heavy rain. Some of these storms, some of these heavier showers are about to move in within the next hour. Just giving you the first alert here from Talladega to Anniston. We will get some heavier rain, but the severe stuff at this point, it's southern Talladega County that we need to watch out for as these storms continue their marching on to the northeast. This is that storm, again, right around Strickland Crossroads, where we could have a tornado here. This is a tornado that was observed around Lay Lake. We had a storm spotter report on this and a small debris signature, and now that's moving into northern Coosa County around Stewartville. That's where this thing's going to be tracking. There's Lake Joy, and also we're looking at the Thomas Hill community. We have several views pulled up. Fred, I want to head back over to that system. I see you got Birmingham there, a live look.
Well, we've got not only that, Wes, but we also have some shots here. that, of course, our photojournalists have been out and they've been showing us the heavy rain which has moved through Birmingham. Now, this is in the Hoover area, I believe, and we had reports of Highway 31 being flooded, and so you can see that this is not safe travel. So you can see already we've experienced flooding rains. Haven't really had any severe warnings, but this area floods fairly frequently. So this is just off Highway 31, so the Hoover PD reporting there that they are having flooding concerns there. And of course, we did have some heavy rain which moved through that area. And we do, again, want to caution you that if water covers the roadways, don't try to cross. You can endanger not only your life, but you can also endanger the lives of first responders. This was along I-59, heavy rain moving through the Birmingham area. And of course, west here, we were actually hearing the rumbles of thunder and the flashes of lightning. So not only have we had heavy rain, but we've already had flooding concerns, and we're still looking at travel problems there along 31. Now, some of the other locations, we may not be seeing that as such. Traffic appears to be flowing fine. This is a live look at our Brookwood Baptist Medical Center camera. Remember, if your wipers are on, turn your lights on. This is downtown Birmingham. Certainly a rainy scene there. Still getting these southwesterly winds over along 280. That's our Grandview Medical Center camera. You can see just some light rain right now. Now, here's what Wes has been talking about. You may see some clearing skies. We are seeing that back in Tuscaloosa. Still some cloud cover around, but you may see that over in West Alabama. Does that mean the event is over? No. We're looking at a second round of rain, and perhaps more dangerously in terms of flooding overnight tonight into the early morning hours Tuesday. Still getting some rain, but not nearly as much. That's our Summerton camera, so that's what it looks like in East Walker County. But back to the storm and the concern of the moment. And West, that takes us back to Talladega County. Looks as if that storm is going to track over near Sylacauga, maybe Fayetteville, in that area as it continues to track off to the north and east.
All right, Fred, and yeah, let's stay on that view right there. We're looking at Oak Grove. We could have a tornado here about to cross just south of Oak Grove near Stewartville in this area. That is a live look. I've got the camera pulled up here. I want to try to pan around here back to the. That's looking back over the City Hall right there at Oak Grove, looking more towards the south and east direction. Let me pan back to the west. And there we go. So that's the marble quarry. You can see the visibility. It's about to drop off to zero there in Oak Grove. I know the rain. It is really coming down in this area. Just looking at where this is moving with respect, it looks like the possible tornado is going to stay there just south of Sylacauga, just south of Oak Grove at this time. Places over in the Fayetteville, looks like that possible tornado is going to stay just south of you. Let's go back to the radar, and I don't know if you're listening in the back, if you could find a way just to take the camera view there in the box, and we'll keep a watch on that. Let's go back into storm track mode when we need to stay on top of this. We do have a couple of areas you can actually see there close to Sylacauga. Let me just look at this. Kind of interesting there, the way this is showing some rotation at this point right there around Sylacauga, and that might have been. You can just see the visibility really dropped off there. There is some broad rotation showing up in this area right now in Sylacauga. If we go to the shear, you can see right there some strong rotation that's showing up. That's right there at Oak Grove, in fact, moving through that area. So we have a couple of points here. Southern Talladega County, the Weather Service, we don't have a warning on this, but there is a little bit of rotation. We're at least going to have some strong wind gusts. Actually, John DeBlock with the Weather Service, they're noting right there that strong, what we call mesocyclone, that strong circulation. The Weather Service is watching this at this point, but they're holding for now just based on, we're learning a lot the way this has evolved today, the kind of reports we're getting in. So, I mean, we've seen a lot of this on the radar, these storms. They've shown some strong indications of rotation, but the Weather Service, they're holding on this right now. But I will note that if you're in Oak Grove and Sylacauga, you're about to get some very strong winds moving through. Actually, at this time, this is a live look. This is Oak Grove at this time. You can see there 68 degrees. Visibility's dropped off. I see some folks there on 280. Not a time to be on the roadways. Anywhere between here and Fayetteville, our friends around Fayetteville, Lori Darling's restaurant and all those areas there off to the east, you know where I'm talking about. You're going to have some heavy rain, some strong winds that are moving in. Look at that, almost zero visibility there showing up now. Just heavy rainfall now impacting southern Talladega County. Actually, there we go. The Weather Service, they've issued a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued now for southern Talladega County for that storm, and that's a very good call. You know, these severe thunderstorm warnings, many times you think severe thunderstorm warning compared to tornado warning. That means that you could have a tornado. That's included. If a storm produces an isolated tornado, it is a severe thunderstorm warning. So the Weather Service, they have issued a severe thunderstorm warning. You certainly want to be indoors. Obviously, from the camera view, you can see in the corner of the screen, that's a live look right there from Oak Grove in Talladega County, and that is what it's like right now. Very heavy rainfall, winds gusting over 60 miles per hour, perhaps with this as it crosses Highway 280. The one point in this line where we had a confirmed tornado was back in here over Lay Lake. This is that storm right now, and where it's going, you can see it's moving closer to Stewartville. So anywhere along Highway 231, stay put. I would not be traveling. Let this line move on through. This is what we're dealing with right now in Talladega County. Let me see if I can zoom in just a bit so we can kind of get a good indication of how gusty those winds are. And hard to get a good visibility there, Fred. This is...
Yeah, it's heavy. And hail, incidentally, Wes, or not incidentally, but 3/4 inch hail. So, you know, we've talked about the winds, we've talked about the tornadoes. We haven't talked a great deal about the hail threat with this, which we felt would be a threat all along. So 3/4 inch hail can do quite a bit of damage. If you're out of doors, obviously, you want to seek shelter. And also your automobiles, if you can protect them, get them in a carport or a driveway, because 3/4 inch hail, Wes, in a short period of time can do quite a bit of damage. So I know you're looking live there, or trying to, at Oak Grove, and our visibility just is down to zero there. So people traveling along 280, there at Sylacauga up to Fayetteville in that area of Talladega County, perhaps over toward Harpersville, you need to go ahead and seek shelter. Get off the road. Your neighbors, I'm sure, will help you out if you happen to be in a manufactured home. But go ahead now, if you're on into Talladega County, and seek shelter from this approaching storm. And it is, again, Wes, approaching rapidly. All these storms, I know a lot of folks don't tune in until the storms approach their area, but the forward speed of these storms has been anywhere from 35 to 45 miles per hour. And we are getting about a 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts being reported at Sylacauga. So as these storms move in, they are producing some gusty winds outside the tornadic areas.
Heavy rainfall right now, Fred. You can see the view there coming in from the corner. What I've done, I've overlaid where we have those stronger wind gusts right now, and you can see that's lining up here from Sylacauga back in towards Strickland's Crossroads. The signature where we had the tornado, it's not quite as defined right now over northern Coosa County. This has passed very close to, I mentioned Marble Valley. You're in the clear right now if you're watching around Marble Valley. This has passed on by Prater Road. That was one of those roadways I called out a few moments ago. Somewhere in here, we still have that broad rotation that's right on the Talladega-Coosa County line that's still moving in the direction of Stewartville, but it has backed off a little bit. You're going to get the heavy rain, the very strong winds. It is pouring right now. We have severe storms impacting Sylacauga. We mentioned that view. That is on top of the Sylacauga First Assembly Church there. That's right outside the Oak Grove Town Hall there, going into Sylacauga off south of Highway 280, but you can see the view. It's heavy rain at this point that's falling in that area. Gusty winds, heavy rain that's moving into Sylacauga, but that one area that prompted the warning over Coosa County, if I can find it, it's right in this general zone there close to the county line, and that's moving on to the north and east. But this anywhere along this line, especially further south, we had the warning that's still ongoing. You can see obviously the rotational components here further south, a bit more impressive. That is the view from Birmingham's radar. If we check out the Montgomery radar and look at the view there to the south and the velocity, you can see very strong couplet. Look at that.
Yeah, that Elmore County storm has the National Weather Service greatly concerned, Wes. That is definitely a very strong and dangerous storm right there when you're talking about in Elmore County.
Yeah, I believe it had a pretty good, let's see if we can see a debris signature on that. At one point, it had a very strong debris signature. The triple threat, let's see, we'll go back to velocity. Yeah, velocity on this is very impressive right now. That is crossing very close. Fred, you know, we could see parts of Coosa County, far southeast Coosa County, maybe included in another warning here as that tracks to the north and east direction. If that's not far from Equality, it's kind of lifting in this direction. That's moving right there along Highway 9. So if you're watching anywhere from Central to Equality, Nicksburg, keep a watch on this. To the south, we have a storm that at one point we had a confirmed tornado with this to the south, but that one storm there, it really has our attention. That's the one that's moving across northern Elmore County. Now that's just south of the WBRC Fox 6 coverage area. That's down. Our friend Josh Johnson and our team at WSFA is keeping a close watch on that one. The tornado warning.
That has been canceled,
yep.
Yes.
Just noticed that. So good news there. As Fred noted, that warning has been canceled. Let's go back to Birmingham radar and we can get a good eye on this. And yeah, the rotation that was showing up there as it moved through Coosa County, obviously it has lessened up a little bit. We still have some indications though in here of some strong wind gusts. I know we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, but listen up. If you are listed here on these times, you have the risk of damaging wind gusts with this line that's moving in right now. I mentioned the Quarry 218, Thomas Hill 223, 5 points around 224, Sylacauga. Right now we're being impacted. We could have some more gusty winds moving through around 224. So basically next 15-20 minutes we're going to be dealing with this heavy rain, this line of storms that's going to move through and have some big impacts here. You can see our system still picking up right there where that little spin happened along that line when it produced a tornado there close to Lay Lake. You can see now moving into far southern Talladega County. We have that severe thunderstorm warning that's still in effect for Sylacauga. There, let's go in for a close-up. I mentioned around Highway 231 being impacted. 5 Points area, Oak Grove. There's the Quarry, Oldfield area, Talladega Highway 21. Those areas to the north there as well, and Highway 231. Let's go back to the view, Fred, that you have there from Oak Grove. And I mentioned earlier that's on the Sylacauga First Assembly right in that area. And it is absolutely pouring there at the moment as that crosses there around Highway 280. Seeing a lot of folks on the road, Fred, and just can't stress enough, stay off the roads until this passes. You're going to end up with some heavy ponding. It is absolutely pouring. This is kind of weather, Fred, those windshield wipers just can't keep up.
Yeah, well, and you make an excellent point, Wes. So let me say, if you don't have a tornado warning, you say, well, the danger has passed. Not necessarily. These storms, these supercell strong thunderstorms can produce a wind threat, a widespread wind threat, and often this wind threat can cause damage which is more widespread than even a tornado. There's also been a lot of lightning. Wes has talked about that over and over and over again. And remember, you don't have to be directly under this thing. Lightning can strike 10 miles. So if you're just hearing the rumbles of thunder as this storm moves up toward Sylacauga and Talladega, I know Wes, the very popular golf resort there, Purcell Farms there near Sylacauga, and I'm sure there's not a lot of golf being played there today. And finally, Wes, we're going to be looking at flooding concerns. We're already seeing flooding on Highway 31 in Hoover, and we haven't had any severe weather warnings. So if water covers the roadway, whatever you do, turn around, you endanger not only your life, but the life of would-be rescuers, so your vehicle can stall out. And finally, if you can't see the roadway, you simply don't know if the roadway is there or not. And folks, we can't express this enough. This is a potentially life-threatening situation. So we'll update you now. People are probably just now tuning in, especially over in East Alabama. It is worth noting that the tornado watch for the areas where the heavier storms move through has been canceled for, say, Tuscaloosa County, back into Pickens, Lamar, Marion, Winston, and Walker counties and Fayette County. However, it's been extended west further to the east, so Jefferson, Shelby counties, which were not under the tornado watch early on, are now under that tornado watch. And as I said, I feel as if flooding is still going to be a very big concern as we go through the overnight hours, especially in areas to the south.
Yeah, Fred, and let's get back to radar view on this storm. We need to watch these storms here to the southeast, and we need to stay close to tracking this one that's moving through southern Talladega County. At this point, it is a severe thunderstorm warning that we have. Right now, it looks like the Weather Service, they have, again, canceled Coosa County on that particular warning there. Off to the south, we're looking at Sylacauga now underneath a severe thunderstorm warning at this time, and just pouring rain right now. I mentioned around Oak Grove in these areas to the south. I want to grab the radar controls here real quickly and giving you the first alert times for areas in the path of these storms. This is a look at the radar again, and we'll go back out to the broader view. Let me see if I can clear some of this off the screen. And there we go. So what we're looking at, we have a couple of warnings to the south, and this is the absolutely, this is the latest radar scans that we have there. You can see that to the north it's mostly a lot of rain. There's some broad aerial flood advisories that include Birmingham, Springville, and the Margaret areas, catching a break here around Jasper and Fayette. As Fred noted, those watches have been trimmed away further north and west. That is a good sign. Hopefully we won't see an additional watch issued later this evening, but that is certainly a good sign for now that we're seeing some counties trimmed away. Sylacauga at this point, that is the only warning that we have, at least in our coverage area. Just looking at the velocities and different things happening here, the rotation it's much broader. Mostly what we're seeing is along this line possibilities of some strong gusty winds. And looking at the future radar and where this will go, if we follow along, you can see that this storm is going to be tracking in towards Hanover, Goodwater, Brownsville, Shady Grove, Carmel, Ashland. This will eventually move into Clay County. So just kind of following that there over the next hour, you can see that's going to be moving to the north and east direction into Clay County. Not to say it's going to be severe at that time, but this is just basically, from what I'm seeing across our entire area, the one spot we need to watch. At this point, in the short term, I think the risk of severe weather has certainly dropped off. Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Gadsden points north. It's mostly a lot of rain. Now later today, this evening, we could see the risk for storms make a return. But at least right now, confidence is growing that we are certainly going to see a lull in activity as this first wave of storms moves through. And again, you know, that was a possibility that we talked about yesterday, that we could see one wave of storms that move through and then perhaps a secondary wave that moves through later this evening and into tonight. In fact, Fred, one thing, next time we go to you, perhaps you can show us that forecast radar for the overnight. Let me show that camera view one more time. You can see here at Oak Grove that the heavier rain has backed off a little bit, so winds east at 6, so it looks like finally a little bit of an improvement happening there in the Oak Grove area. Now it looks like that heavier rain has now crossed 231 and now pushing in towards Clay County. So this is what we're keeping an eye on here to the far south and east, these storms. This is an active tornado warning over Elmore County. That storm is passing between Eclectic, looks like Equality being impacted. At this point, it looks like it's staying south of Rockford, and it may stay south of Coosa County. We'll keep a watch on it here. That is in our coverage area, so just in case a warning is issued on that. You can see there, very strong indication. Actually, the strongest indication of the tornado is right there around Equality. This is it. So if you're watching here around, looks like Mount Zion 236, Valley View around 243, we could have a tornado to the far southeast part of our coverage area around Equality. They're crossing around Highway, it's crossed Highway 231. This is Highway 9 here. So Highway 9 between Cottage Grove, Equality, and the central areas. Very strong indication of a tornado here that is moving to the northeast. Again, let's take another look at some of the velocity data on this. And that is one of the more impressive signatures of the day, Fred, I think we've seen. And we're looking at this for Montgomery. So we're looking at this from both Montgomery, also from the Birmingham area. The tornadoes almost moved out of the polygon. Looks like the Weather Service, they're going to continue that severe thunderstorm warning for Talladega County. But this is a dangerous storm here right now around Equality. A very strong rotation signature that is moving in towards Tallapoosa County. As we look at the triple threat on this, we're seeing indications that we could have some hail, some strong winds as that moves to the northeast. And you can see the path of the possible tornado here as it's moved across northern Coosa County. And that's what you're looking at there with that red shear rate. That is the path of the storm. And if you follow that direction, that would take this into Tallapoosa County. So let's see what the Weather Service, they may opt to, based on, they're getting a lot of communication there as well, a lot of ground truth information. So they'll have a lot more to factor into the warning decision-making process. And we'll see if they decide to expand that warning there to include areas. This is Lake Martin back in here, by the way, that will be impacted by that storm as it moves north. I want to get back into our coverage area here, WBRC Fox 6 continuing severe weather coverage mode for several tornado warnings that we've had at times today. There's a line of storms, this far southeastern part of our coverage area. Some heavy rain and storms in here. If we had any location where we could see a tornado warning happen, it would be in this one zone right now. So I think once we can get this out of here, we're catching a break in the wet weather, at least a break in the severe weather threat for a little while. Some of the counties being trimmed away from the watch. That said, we still could see some more storms return tonight. That's something we're going to have to watch out for. This is going to be a multiple wave kind of setup here for today and tonight as this setup, these storms march across the area. But that doesn't look nearly as impressive. It's really become more embedded in a lot of rain there. You can see as it moves off to the east direction. It's a lot of rain to the south of it now, down in towards Goodwater and places there. So that's a good sign as well. We'll just check out the shear rate, and still seeing some spin, but obviously you can tell when you look at the coverage area, Coleman to Hamilton areas to the north, the one area where we got the rotation that's showing up, it's right here to the far southeast, and it still includes these areas right here from Clay County, Talladega County, Coosa, and into Tallapoosa County. But by far the one storm that stands out, when you see that yellow line here on WBRC when we're tracking storms, that's what we call our barren shear marker. And so many times we've seen that correlated with when you have toppled trees and wind-related damage. So that's something, every time I see that, that really stands out. That is a very accurate product anytime it shows up. Keep a watch on that. But that has disappeared. You can see which we are looking from. Let's go back to the Montgomery view as well and take a look at that storm there to the south. Again, looks like once this passes by, nice little break happening here for areas. This is the broader view, and you can see that we're catching some breaks, but notice how there's more storms kind of lining up, more showers back to the southwest. We could see that instability build if we get some more sunshine, and that could lead to some more strong storms later on tonight. That said, let's go to meteorologist Fred Hunter. And Fred's standing by. And Fred, you're kind of analyzing the setup for later on today and tonight as folks try to plan. What are we seeing right now with some of the new data coming in?
Well, I do want to amplify on something you said just now, Wes. You were talking about this is a severe thunderstorm, and there's still a lot of lightning associated with this, but the storm is moving up here. We've talked about the southern part of Talladega County, down around Sylacauga, of course, but the storm moving north and getting some indications that there may be some hail as that storm moves on to the north toward Talladega in the northern parts of the county. But that's what else Wes was talking about. There's still a lot of lightning, especially over in East Alabama, and this has not yet been updated. The Storm Prediction Center still feels in areas south of Birmingham, basically, in that enhanced category. Now, Wes was asking a few moments ago, what does the rest of the evening hold? We still feel as if we may see, in spite of the fact that the heavier storms move out of the southeastern area, some redevelopment of some of these storms, just perhaps not as severe. Nevertheless, some of these areas have been hit with storms on multiple occasions. So during the overnight and early morning hours, just be aware that you need multiple ways to get your weather information, because this entire event may not be over for several more hours or into the wee hours of the morning, and we could see some additional heavy rainfall as we go through the afternoon.
I'm going to get back to you here. I just want to jump in and let you know that the Weather Service, they have issued that tornado warning for Tallapoosa, Coosa. They've expanded that one in Elmore County.
And we have a number of viewers that watch us that have property down at Lake Martin. So if you're watching us there from your home lake house on Lake Martin, be aware that tornado warning is in your area. Real quick, Wes, I'll go right back to you. If you're in West Alabama, you should know the tornado watch has been trimmed away from Tuscaloosa County back to the west and to the north, and that includes Coleman County too, by the way, no longer under the tornado watch for this afternoon and this evening. Wes?
Okay, so a tornado warning now for Tallapoosa County. That is going to be in effect for far southeastern Coosa County. So if you're watching around the Kellington area, point south, I was mentioning Highway 9 a few moments ago. Here is the warning polygon. That does include Lake Martin. This is a storm that's been one of the more impressive rotation signatures that we've seen all day. We had some confirmation. You could see back in here once it moved through northern Elmore County, we had confirmation of a tornado, but this is it now. That storm, as it makes its way in towards Lake Martin, we're seeing Valley View 244, giving you the first alert times. Again, this is south of Sylacauga, south of Talladega, Anniston. This is south of us here in Ashland. The way this is moving, I think this could impact us here around Alexander City as well. This is now looks like north and east of Eclectic. It's moving east-northeast at 33 miles per hour. Piney Point area 245, River Bend at 245. So if you're listening in on the radio, we've got radio stations like 102.5 that carry our severe weather coverage across the state. You can find us on iHeart radio stations giving you those times right now for folks listening in. Mount Zion 237, Piney Point 245, as well as the River Bend area. This is far southeast. Tornado warning now for a storm that's moving into Tallapoosa County. Let's go in really close. I know I was really zoomed out. I just wanted you to see where this was with respect to other parts of our area, but there's that warning now until 3 o'clock. That does include southern Coosa County. This is that one location, that one storm right around Equality, and that's now pushed south. Actually, Kellington, this is just south of you. There's Nicksburg, there's Highway 9, there's Highway 22, Fish Pond. Kellington, this is south of you. So just to show you there, this is Kellington, Alabama, the Hatchet area. That's Highway 280 between Alexander City and Sylacauga. Actually, Alexander City, the way this is polygon set up, you can see the way it's oriented. You can look at the radar right there and see that that's to the south, and it looked a bit more impressive there as it moved through the Equality community. Let's go back to the radar view one more time, and right in there south of Fish Pond, this is a nasty storm, and we're probably going to at least have some strong straight line winds with this as well. That's about to cross out of Coosa County. So again, There's the Fish Pond, Cottage Grove, Nicksburg. This is now the worst has passed. Equality, the worst has passed. I know we're probably just now getting an alert, but the worst of the weather has now passed off to the east of you as well. You can see there the rotation, it's kind of broadened a little bit. We're looking, I was noticing from both radar sites there, Birmingham and out of Montgomery, you can see the rotation has broadened a little bit, but that is crossing into Tallapoosa County at this time. So moving out of Coosa County, hopefully very soon. Just stand by here in Coosa County and those southeast areas, and we'll be able to give you the all clear once this passes by. But a new tornado warning has been issued for southeast Coosa and Tallapoosa County, giving you the first alert times on where this is going. If we follow along here, moving to the north and east direction, that's going to put this towards places like Dadeville at 2:46. Dadeville area, a first alert time 2:46. Sessions at 2:51, 2:52 at Eagle Creek, and also Piney Point now showing 2:39 on that time of arrival. It's currently 2:27. This is continuing severe weather coverage. You're watching WBRC Fox 6, and we have active tornado warnings happening in areas to the south, and we are going to stay all over this for you until we get these storms out of here. The good news is we're seeing some improvements there in areas back to the north. The rain has helped to take a little bit of that energy out of the air for now. Still a dangerous storm right now that we're watching outside of Sylacauga. If you're in Waldo and Chandler Springs, stay alert here just in case we see another warning issued. You can see right there, still seeing some indications of rotation. Let's go back to the Birmingham view on this, and need to watch this one closely. Right in there, still a little bit of circulation that's happening. We'll at least be talking about some of those damaging straight line wind possibilities with this. That is right around Taylor's Mill. If you're watching me here, this is north of Sylacauga, the Taylor's Mill area. And let me move just a little bit there so you can see that is around Skyway Mountain, Taylor's Mill. Looks like Horns Valley Road areas there. This is north of Sylacauga. Seeing some indications there of some strong winds now impacting southern Talladega County. That warning set to expire for Talladega County at 2:30. So we're getting close. That severe thunderstorm warning, we'll see what happens with that. So it looks like down in the South Alabama now, the National Weather Service Mobile, they've issued some severe thunderstorm warnings down into Wilcox and Clark County, Alabama. So we're seeing some warnings happening there. Checking in with our first alert weather watchers here, seeing some flood issues. One of our weather watchers reporting in parts of Hamilton. No storm damage in those areas, but getting some reports there out of North Alabama. Weather watcher Bobby Davis in Sylacauga reported 6 miles south of Oak Grove. A lot of wind and rain pretty much as this moved through there south of Sylacauga. So that's getting some, a lot of reports, a lot of wind, a lot of rain, but not seeing quite as many damage reports. But this is far southeastern parts of the area at the moment that we're watching. You can see that spin obviously is showing up. This is south and east of Childersburg, Talladega. I think this stays south of us. Now crossing around Highway 170 or Highway 77. Chambers Springs, this is going to be moving closer to those areas. So if you're on Chambers Springs, be ready for some gusty winds as those storms move through. That is a severe thunderstorm warning. At this point, the tornado warning is happening in Tallapoosa County, again around Dadeville. But that's what we're seeing at this time. Fred, any new information on the rest of the area? I saw some of those counties being trimmed away to the north.
Yeah, some more of the counties have been trimmed out of the tornado watch. Of course, these areas have been part of the watch since early this morning, Wes, but initially Jefferson, Shelby County not included in the watch, then it was added in, and then the watch was expanded further east, but basically from Shelby County, Jefferson County, up to Blount County, and on back to Coleman County, Winston County, Marion County. You mentioned some flooding concerns there, and you may get another round of heavy rain and then moving on down into West Alabama. Now, we're tracking initially and have been west the damage in areas to the south and west. And Tristan Rupert is live now. He is down in Perry County. And you remember that first tornado track, excuse me, he's in Marion in Perry County. That's what I meant to say. That initial storm went between Greensboro and Marion. And now Tristan has a live report from Marion down in Perry County.
Fred, as you can see, damage is extensive here on one property, County Road 29, northwest of Marion. Allow me to step out of the shot so you can see for yourself. The back half of this roof absolutely torn apart. We spoke to the family. They say, well, it really is devastating to witness. They're just thankful that everyone's going to walk away from this with their lives. But this glimpse in this picture, it doesn't even really showcase the true damage and devastation that you can see over the football field area that we're in. We're going to be able to show you more in the hours ahead, but we've got a jumpy signal right now. We can't be moving this shot too much, but again, there's all kinds of tin covered throughout the forestry. There's some trees down. This is something they say forest responders actually came out very quickly to them, and they say at one point they feel like their house jumped up in the air before sliding several feet another direction. So definitely something that isn't something they expected to deal with today. And of course, they perhaps got a reminder of the power of Mother Nature and some of these storms, what they can do. It doesn't need perhaps a hurricane or tornado. We don't know if that's what occurred here. Maybe it was straight line winds. Of course, we're going to get the answers in the hours and days ahead, but we're working to get you more information. We're going to give you more pictures of the damage here northwest of Perry in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Reporting in Perry, Tristan Rupert, WBRC, Fox 6 News, on your side.
All right, thanks a lot there, Tristan. And reports that is northwest of Marion in Perry County. As Tristan mentioned, we have pieces, he mentioned pieces of tin and trees, and you see that, and especially you see some of that debris kind of wrapped around branches. That's certainly a sign of a tornado, but the Weather Service, they will go out and they will evaluate. We also have a lot of straight line winds with these storms as well. I want to point out the Weather Service has expanded that severe thunderstorm warning that we were watching, that one storm that was here across Talladega County, that has now been expanded into Clay County, still right in this area. See a little bit of a spin that's going on in there. We have a borderline storm right now. This could be upgraded to a tornado warning, but note that severe thunderstorm warnings, especially on a day like this, I've seen severe thunderstorm warnings and we've had tornadoes. They can produce isolated tornadoes. That's in that definition. So don't take this lightly just because it is a severe thunderstorm warning. That can certainly produce some damage. But we got live scenes coming in right now from Perry County. That is northwest of Marion. So that is one thing, you know, we talked about this. What kind of reports, what kind of ground truth are we getting with these storms? So certainly a significant impact out there across parts of our area. And these are some dangerous storms that are marching through the area. We've had a couple of debris signatures back to the south and east. We have a tornado warning right now, active tornado warning that is in effect for Tallapoosa County. That will include Alexander City, as area south of Alexander City, and Dadeville as this storm to the south moves north and east. We have a severe storm now moving in around places like Lineville and Millerville. We could have some damaging winds and still a little bit of rotation that's showing up with that storm there that's moving in across Clay County. Here is a closer view of that one storm, and again we're seeing some of that broad rotation coming in. Sylacauga, worst of this is east of us right now. Childersburg, this is east of us. This is now moving in. I mentioned Millerville. There's Highway 9 and Ashland. You can see right in here some indications where we have some strong winds now moving into Clay County. A little bit of rotation right there around the Gage area. Just be in that safe place and certainly off the roadways right now until this passes on by. We've got some intense rainfall and lightning, maybe some small hail with this as this moves to the northeast. That severe thunderstorm warning looks like that has been extended through 3:15. Fred, are you seeing any additional information coming in out of West Alabama?
They're talking about, no, not West Alabama specifically, other than where Tristan is located, which is down in southwest Alabama. He's down in Perry County outside Marion. I do have a live look Wes, at what's going on right now in Tuscaloosa. We were seeing some clearing skies. We're seeing the heavier rain that's ending in West Alabama. So that's a live look at Tuscaloosa, but that is not the case in other places. For example, we take you over to Blount County, where you can see heavy wind and gusty winds up to 20 miles per hour here. That's looking back towards Straight Mountain from Appalachian School. And then we hop over to Etowah County, and we're getting heavy rain over there on the south side. In addition, West, getting winds gusting up to 29 miles per hour. So there are some areas that we're still dealing with right there on the Etowah-Blount County line. Winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour. That's our Altoona camera. So obviously the stronger storms are moving there. And then, of course, we have been tracking that storm that's been moving through Talladega County for the past several hours. But I want to amplify something that Tristan said just a moment ago, and something that you said as well. Just because it is not a tornado warning doesn't mean that it can't produce damage, because these thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms, Wes, that's what you've been talking about. It can produce heavy rain as well as hail, and then the downbursts from those storms out ahead of the parent storm can produce widespread wind damage. So do not discount a severe thunderstorm warning in your area. And as Wes mentioned, severe thunderstorms can and do produce tornadoes. Wes?
All right, Fred, let's get back in, and also if we can bring in some of those scenes again from Perry County. We're following along. We got some breaking information here. First alert for possible tornado storm damage out of Perry County. Tristan Rupert there with some live scenes. We're going to try to effort getting you some more scenes there and some more reports as we learn more about what these storms have produced as they move through West Alabama. So what was that again, Angie? Okay, so we've got some new video coming in, and actually I believe we have a tornado here from what I just saw with some of the earlier scenes. It looked like some of the trees, the tops were out of some of the trees there from some of that video. That was from northwest of Marion County. I know that was sort of quick video there, but you could see a mobile home damaged in that area, but that could have been possibly, see right there at the top of the screen, you can see the tops of some of the trees removed there and some of the debris. The Weather Service, they will check this out. Could have been straight line winds. We'll just have to see. I thought I might have saw a piece of tin wrapped around. Yeah, you can see in there a lot of that debris kind of blown in one direction, it seems like, but it looks like that. You can see how the home was lifted. Notice how all the blocks and the foundation around that mobile home had just collapsed. So it looks like the entire building was lifted and it fell. And we saw a lot of those damaged mobile homes down in the Beauregard tornado. A lot of it was related to structural engineers related to the tie downs, and that's one of the dangers there with the mobile homes is how well those tie down structures are maintained. As we look at the setup right now, though, an area that we're keeping a watch on is Clay County. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect here for Clay County. Ashland and Carmel, Bluff Springs, Barfield areas, strong straight line winds are going to be a possibility as this storm here moves to the east direction. Let's go back to live radar view, and once this moves past Clay County, most of the area, this is that first wave that's lifting on out. We're catching a lull in the activity, and we talked about that possibility. There could be some more storms that returns late tonight, and I mean late. After 8, 9 o'clock tonight, we could deal with some more storms. So this may cycle through once again before that severe weather threat comes to an end. But at least right now, if you're making plans and you're watching areas to the north, anywhere from Tuscaloosa to Birmingham, Gadsden, I know we have some rain here, but when we catch some breaks, there's no immediate severe threat. You can see back to the west, things have certainly settled down, and hopefully that'll be a sign. You know, there were some question marks going into today. How would the storms today impact the setup for later on tonight? And one thing we have to consider with a setup like this, you have winds out of the south. And actually, Fred, we just got to upgrade to a tornado warning now for Clay County. I just saw that. Let's go back to Clay County, and that's that one area that we were watching right here around the Coletta area. Let's go back to velocity mode, and there it is. And that's that one one location that's just been the consistent troublemaker over the past several hours, moving southwest and northeast. This is that same part of the storm that moved through northern Coosa County, crossed around Lay Lake, and now that is moving into Clay County. So Chambers Springs, we gave you that first alert. And let me tell you areas that are in the path of this. Listen up. If you're in Spring Hill at 2:50, that is the first alert time. This will be approaching you at 2:50. Gunthertown area at 2:54. Campbell's Crossroads at 2:58. Campbell Springs 2:59. The Concord area at 3:04. We are looking at a very strong BTI on a scale of 1 to 10 up to a 6. We saw those values close to a 4 for even that storm that impacted and produced damage in Perry County. But this is it right now. That is a new tornado warning that has been issued for Clay County, and that is set to expire at 3:15. So we're going to be with you here through at least 3:15 this evening. Meteorologist Lauren Linehan also standing by. She's been sending out some updates on the First Alert weather app and also updating our evening forecast products. And Lauren, I want to come to you here later on to talk a little bit about this setup for later on tonight, because I know you've been looking at some of that data, and we want to know how this severe weather is going to unfold for the rest of today. But in the meantime, right now, though, we're going to stay with you here, folks, in Clay County. Ashland, we are included. Lineville, we are included in that tornado warning as this continues there off to the east direction and moving at about 40+ miles per hour. Birmingham Weather Service, they have canceled the tornado warning for Coosa, Elmore, and Tallapoosa County. So we have seen that warning has been canceled there for those areas to the south. Let me go back to communication here as we monitor the developments to the far southeast. The only warning that we have in our coverage area, now a tornado warning. Looks like that severe thunderstorm warning also still in effect for those areas to the southeast as well. So Highway 77, if you're watching me around Harkins Crossroads, Millerville, Carmill, just name some areas. Highway 148 north towards Antioch Church and the Poe Bridge area in Ashland. You are in the path of this. There's Springville. Make sure at this point, drop what you're doing, get to the tornado safe space. If you don't have a concrete reinforced safe room or storm pit, storm cellar, that's what we always call them, storm pits around here, right? If you don't have one of those, make sure you go to the basement. If you don't have a basement, a low spot, I mentioned hallways, bathrooms. Try to find you an interior room. Put as many walls between you and the outside. You know the drill. We've seen plenty of these warnings here before. Grab a helmet. If you have an old bicycle helmet around, I often say those helmets, I know it looks funny running around the house with a helmet on, but it can save your life. Having that extra protection, a pillow, heavy blanket, something to wrap yourself with there in your tornado safe place. But get there. We will let you know once this threat has passed. This is one of those unique setups here in January. Yes, severe weather does happen this time of the year. It can happen any time of the year, anywhere from fall through spring, especially when these conditions are favorable. And we could have a tornado here producing some damage now crossing around Highway 77. There's Ashland. I mentioned Bowden Grove, Spring Hill, Campbell Springs. The way this is moving, tracking to the northeast. Here's a look at the latest first alert times. This shows Lineville at 3:10. Okay, 3:10 for Lineville. A severe storm moving east-northeast at 33 miles per hour. Still a very strong indication here that we've got some damaging winds, possible tornado as this moves to the northeast. But that is a tornado warning now active for Clay County through 3:30, and we have a severe thunderstorm warning. So even if you're not in that tornado warning polygon, this entire line of storms here is capable of producing some damaging winds as this tracks to the east, and even some small hail. Seeing those indications there from this as the storm tracks to the east. Let's show you where we have, look at that, 58 mile per hour winds possible in here with this as it moves to the east, at least 58 mile per hour winds. And typically with something like an EF0, you're looking at winds of at least 60 miles per hour. So whether it's straight line winds or even a low end scale type tornado, that can certainly produce some damage. We have declared today a first alert weather day. I was mentioning a few moments ago, going into this setup here for today, there were some question marks how these storms today could impact the setup tonight. hopefully for the better. Still some model data points out that we could see one more round of storms that marches through as we get that final line, that final cold front. Later tonight, the severe risk, it may become more of a straight line wind threat, though, as the night goes on. That's one thing we're going to evaluate. But regardless, at this point, these areas to the south, that's where we see a lot of that storm fuel, and we got to get this out of here before we can see this tornado threat to the south at least settle down for now. Tornado warning through 3:30, and let's go back to the big picture here as we go to our wide radar view, and looks like some breaks still happening back to the west, a lot of clouds, and you can see how that's all lifting into the southeast right in there. That one storm, if we follow it, you can see it move right across Sylacauga, and it's just been borderline. It's been going back and forth, producing some spin ups, and then the rotation becomes broader. If we follow that, that may end up in Cleburne County, certainly Randolph County. So just want to give you a first alert, early first alert. If that holds together, at least we could see some damaging straight line winds out of this as this moves to the north. So anywhere from Heflin to Wadowee, help spread the word to watch these storms coming in over at least the next hour. Let's keep a watch on this. Areas further west, we're in a break, we're in a lull in the activity for right now, and hopefully that will last for a little while. You'll even notice at the top of the screen there, you see our map. You can keep up with those watches. A good portion of the area, the tornado watches, have been dropped for the remainder of today. Fred, you seeing anything there? I know we have a lot of folks that watch us here in Randolph County, and we certainly want to give people there the first alert.
A lot of friends in Ashland and Lineville as well, Wes. And to amplify on what you were saying, yes, the tornado watch has been canceled for a large part of basically west of I-65 and off to the north. The areas from Etowah County to Cherokee County and down to St. Clair County and on to the south. And of course, that includes Clay County, still under the tornado watch, and that's what Wes has been showing you. However, we are still looking at the threat for flooding. And right now, Wes, I was just noting that the flooded watch is still in effect until 12 noon tomorrow, and that will include Chilton County, Coosa County, Tallapoosa County, those counties you've been talking about with severe weather. And of course, there are the storms, the heavier storms. That's the storm that Wes has been tracking here between Ashland and Lineville. But Wes, here's what I wanted to point out. We're also seeing flood advisories now in effect for parts of Jefferson County and all the way over to East Walker County and points on to the north. So we've had some heavy rain there, and now flood advisories in effect also. One final point. Wes, we've talked over and over about multiple bands. Well, where the rain had stopped here in northwest Alabama, Lamar County over to Fayette County, and even on down to Pickens and Greene counties, we're seeing this redeveloping. So indeed, the forecast models may verify on that. And so after the afternoon passes and the tornado threat passes, we still have the threat for additional heavy rainfall. And then about noon tomorrow, the threat will be ending and cooler air will be moving in. But Wes, I would venture to say, even though the tornado watches have been canceled for a number of counties, we should not discount this, because we can still see some additional rainfall as we go through the late afternoon into the evening hours. And as you can see, southeast areas, that's where the flood watch is. That's where the greatest threat for additional heavy rainfall will lie.
All right, and watching these reports coming in here, Fred, we now have the Weather Service. They're showing radar-indicated tornado located near Ashland, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Listen up, if you're in Clay County right now, we're giving you the first alert. A possible tornado here marching across Clay County, now near Ashland, moving to the northeast direction. That's what you're looking at here. We have the tornado warning polygon. Looking at the rotation tracker, it's right in this area. Let me clear some of this off the screen. I know we have a lot of things going on here. Let's take this off, and you can see there once again that is the tornado possibly right there around Ashland. That is crossing around Highway 9, Highway 77 there, moving across Clay County. Ashland, you're in the path. This will soon move in right over the downtown area. Let's get in here for a close view, and I don't know exactly what happened there. Let me try that one more time. We'll back this view out. and let's go to here. And there we go. I think my computer there was in the way. Let's try that again. But I want to zoom in now over Clay County, and this is interactive technology here. So I'm just kind of using a cutout. It's kind of interesting how this technology works, but it helps. You can kind of drive the radar from the weather wall here. I'm standing in front of a green wall, but you can see there the storm now as it marches on to the east. There's Highway 77. This is the rotation. There's High Pine, and that is the possible tornado, and that's where it's located. It's closing in now on Ashland. So the next couple minutes here, critical to get to that safe spot here between Bowden Grove and Ashland. And we're at least going to see, I mentioned earlier, we could have some winds there around 60 miles per hour. This is right around Mines Road, Poe Bridge Road there, moving to the east and crossing Highway 77. That is the possible tornado. If you're in Ashland, get to the basement, get to the tornado safe room at this time. Bowden Grove, same for you. Talladega Street, Concord, here's Lineville back in here. So Lineville, this is approaching you as well from the west direction. So this is approaching the Lineville area at this time. Tornado warning, and most of the county here with this line is going to have some gusty winds and some heavy rainfall as this tracks to the east. But this is a warning through 3:30. Just checking in on some of the reports that we have, and a lot of what we're seeing, Fred, coming in. We had the damage reports there out of. We had the reports out of, looks like Perry County. This is one of the views here I'll go to. This is.
Tristan was live. That's where Tristan was.
Yeah, that's where Tristan was. This is Chris Fisher there in Coosa County. That was at Lay Lake Dam. That was one of the photos from earlier. You could see that's actually where we had that strong rotation that was showing up as the storm moved in, but it looks like a nice little shelf cloud from earlier. This is actually what's over Clay County right now, this exact same storm. That's just how quickly it's moved in. This was at Oak Grove, Caden sharing this. This was right there around the 5 Points area. Now this is Oak Grove and Talladega County, but just really a lot of rain. You can see those gusty winds out there. See those trees really whipping out there this afternoon. I want to stress again, make sure, especially these areas southeast, you have your mobile devices with backup batteries charged up so you can get those weather alerts as these storms continue marching east across the area. This was at Paradise Point, Lay Lake, about 3 miles from Blue Springs. This was from Tiffany McKay from that tornado warning at the time, and you can see that storm passing by and a lot of wind, a lot of rain from that area. It looks like a time lapse that Tiffany put together, but those are just some of the scenes coming in from our First Alert weather app as we continue to monitor this severe weather threat in areas back to the south. Again, that weather app is a great tool. I just can't stress enough to give you those alerts. You get the lightning detection within so many miles of your location, and it works anywhere in the world. So it's free. Download it, the weather app. It's data that you're getting from us. We update the forecast on there. So a lot of these apps, a lot of that information comes straight from computers, and it has no human input, but that's data that you're getting from our First Alert weather team. So again, if you don't have it, just want to mention that First Alert weather app, great tool to have in your weather detection arsenal. As we go back to First Alert AccuTrack, watching this tornado warning now, this is Clay County, and we're going to stay on top of this in case we see any abrupt changes at this point. Our track is pretty solid at this point. It looks like Ashland, it looks like Lineville, and the Barfield area. Chamber Springs, worst has now passed. We can sound the all clear for you here in Chamber Springs. This has now moved to the east of you. You can see in this area, there's storm relative velocity still showing right there around Ashland. That's where the circulation is, so that has now passed by. That has now moved on to the east of you, now crossing Highway 77. That is where we have the strong rotation at this point. That is between Spring Hill and the Ashland area. A possible tornado now moving to the east direction, northeast direction. Tornado warning until 3:30. And other areas that I wanted to mention, if you're watching around the Liberty Baptist Church area, that was one of those locations. Liberty Baptist Church, there's High Pine. That's passing close to there at this point. It's going to cross between Bowden Grove, Fred, it looks like, and Ashland down in this area. But further south, even though we don't have a tornado warning, notice the Weather Service, they did hang on for these areas here further south. They held on to that severe thunderstorm warning. So we're probably going to see even around Millerville. I know we have some weather watchers there. We'll get some updates as well. Probably have some winds over 58 miles per hour.
Yeah, and Wes, we can kind of show a compare and contrast. Of course, you're talking about Ashland and Lineville there in Clay County, and they're so close together. You know, something that affects one will affect the other. Back into West Alabama, where the tornado watch has been canceled, and you're starting to see some clearing skies. I just want to show you the difference between what's going on west of I-65 and what's going on east of I-65. Of course, Tristan was live further south down in Perry County, just outside Marion. Now this is up in Blount County. That's our Appalachian school, and you can see they have had some heavy rain there, and they're still getting some gusty winds over in Etowah County. We're still reporting a wind gust up to 30 miles per hour, and the really stronger storms have not reached into East Alabama, and you're still under a tornado watch. Now, the Altoona camera, you get on up around the Blount County and Etowah County line. Light rain, but not nearly the intensity of the rain we saw or in Oak Grove. That's the Oak Grove camera, that is, in Talladega County, and you know, visibility was down to 0 as that storm moved through. Now we also have some pictures from Lay Lake, and we were talking about a storm right over Lay Lake Dam, and Wes was noting that's the same storm basically that held together and moved all across Coosa County. So a pretty frightening sight there, Wes, this afternoon. Fortunately, those storms have now moved out of Coosa County.
That's right, Fred, and storms right now, Clay County, moving to the northeast around Ashland, Highland Road, Watershed Road, Highway 49, anywhere from Bowden Grove to Ashland. This is moving in towards Lineville. The softball fields here, North Lineville is going to be close to the path of this as this tracks to the northeast direction. What you're looking at here is the rotation and the winds that are moving towards and away from the radar. If I had to pinpoint where that tornado would be at this point, it's right there over Ashland and crossing right there. Looks like right around Highway 49 at this point. Bowden Grove, Highway 49, and moving to the east. There's Lineville in the path. This is Highway 77, Highway 39 again being, or 49 being impacted, and Watershed Road. Looks like this has just crossed there from Spring Hill back towards Ashland around Watershed Road. Moving to the east direction. Let's go in one more time to some of our other products here, and still seeing that rotation showing up now around Ashland, and some indications of some strong winds even further south. Gibsonville and Mellow Valley, you're probably getting some alerts, weather radios going off for severe thunderstorm warnings along this line. The one suspicious area that we still have our eye on is right there close to Ashland and moving in towards Lineville. Anywhere from Ashland, Campbell Springs to Lineville, if you are in that triangle right there, I want you in your safe place. This is approaching you rapidly, and you have literally seconds here to get to that safe place. Again, if you haven't seek shelter yet, Barfield, this is moving your way. Delta, we're also included in that tornado warning polygon. The Delta area, this stays south of Anniston, this stays south of Mount Cheaha, but I'll tell you what, the view there is probably difficult to see. I know it's always a pretty good view from Mount Cheaha, but with these low clouds and with the rain, it is not optimum storm spotting kind of weather out there today. Usually in some indications, some settings, it's a bit easier to see and spot some of these tornadoes and situations, but right now with all the rain, all the moisture in the air, low clouds, and especially in this hilly terrain, it's going to be very difficult to spot a tornado here as this moves on to the east. Talladega County is in the clear. This has now tracked to the east of you, and for most of the area, we're about to get this out of here. Looks like we're enjoying a little bit of a lull further north and west. Still some rain out there. You still may get a lightning alert. There's still probably going to be some storms, some scattered storms. We're evaluating where we could see some more storms this evening, and Fred's got an update.
Yeah, the Clay County storm, the tornado warning warning for Clay County, Wes, has been allowed to expire. But I do now have some local storm reports. If we can take this full screen so that you can see it. Of course, Tristan is actually down here where you see this storm report. The thunderstorm wind damage, what's being couched. Now, of course, the National Weather Service does after action reports, but that's near Marion down in Perry County. And as I said, Tristan will be having some live reports there. I just wanted to check here. This all started down around Linden and Demopolis, so we do have reports of damage here at Old Spring Hill, around Linden, Demopolis, and Gallion. That's in Hale County, of course. We also had reports of some trees down maybe in southern parts of Hale County. There are also some reports of damage in Marengo County, and all these storms started right here in the Demopolis area, moved up across southern Hale County, through Perry County, and have continued on to the east as we have gone through the afternoon. But that damage that you're seeing there, Tristan will be bringing us live reports starting on the 4 here on Fox 6. Wes, just thought I'd bring you the early storm reports.
Appreciate that, Fred, and that ground truth tells us a lot. These storms to the south certainly packing a punch. A good sign there, the Weather Service, they're watching the storm that we're also keeping an eye on there in Clay County. Looks like that has weakened. I'm just checking to see what kind of content we have. A lot of photos, a lot of pictures coming in from our social media, and we also have some video. Let's see, here's just getting some pictures here from High Pine, Alabama. That heavy rain moving through. Ashland, pouring rain. Notice the Weather Service has held on to that severe thunderstorm warning. We're going to stay with you until this moves out in case we do see this try to cycle through one more time. Areas further south there, you can see around Dadeville, we have some heavy rain. Also down around Camp Hill. These warnings to the south have mainly gone severe thunderstorm at this time. These are still dangerous storms. There's Alexander City. I know we were talking earlier about this tornado warning that was in effect. That has been downgraded to a severe thunderstorm warning, but still a very dangerous storm that could produce some damage there as it moves through Dadeville. Get ready with Dowie and Roanoke. If you're watching me here, Randolph County, this storm moving out of Clay County. It's moving to the east there, so you could have a severe thunderstorm warning coming soon for those areas. And seeing some pictures from Chilton County, a lot of folks seeking shelter out there in the midst of this active weather today. Fred, want to throw it back over to you. And for another quick check here, it looks like even more counties now have been trimmed away from that tornado watch.
Yeah, and it also looks now, Wes, as if the tornado threat area continues to push on to the south and east. I was just noticing, of course, this is down right along the Alabama-Georgia line. We do have a tornado warning down in Bullock County for a tornado near Union Springs. That is far south of us, of course. But as Wes pointed out, this has been the trend through the afternoon. Now, where the storm hit and where Tristan is down here in Perry County, still under the watch. Then you get on into Chilton, Coosa, Tallapoosa County, and go up to Clay and over into Talladega County, St. Clair County, Etowah, and on up as far into northeast Alabama as Cherokee County and Calhoun County, as well, of course, as Cleveland County. We're still under the tornado watch. Now, we still have the flood watch, and this is where, if we get some additional areas of heavy rain here in Coosa, Tallapoosa, Chilton counties, that's where we may have concerns with flash flooding. But over the next several hours, we may see the redevelopment. I'll show you this, the way one of the forecast models handles this, and that is to see redevelopment. And we're seeing a few showers which have been redeveloping back into West Alabama as we go on through the afternoon into the evening hours. That may be the case again. Once again, you say, well, it seems like these storms have all been moving very fast, and they have. The forward speed, I think I saw one of the tornado warned areas at 45 miles per hour. But if you've already gotten heavy rain, and I know we've had some reports of some flooding concerns up in Marion County, then you throw in some more rain, and well, that's only going to add to the flooding concerns. And Wes, this kind of underscores what I was talking about, and you were talking about the rain over around Ellick City, Lake Martin, and on over toward Rockford. We may get 2, 3.5 inches of rain, and even in northwest Alabama and into North Alabama, Coleman County, and on over into northwest Alabama around Marion County, there may be some additional rain as well. So once again, if you don't see the roadway, if water covers the roadway, do not attempt to cross. You not only put your life in danger, but you put the life of first responders in danger who may be coming to your aid. Wes?
All right, Fred, let's get back in here to Clay County. We're tracking this severe thunderstorm. This is in High Pine. Billy White, one of our first alert weather watchers there, sending us an email. This is that rain coming down. This is located just to the south and east of Ashland. They're on High Pine Road. Folks here in Clay County know exactly where I'm talking about, but a beautiful place Billy has there, but he's sending us a weather report and just kind of giving us an eye in the sky on what's happening, and you can see the rain is coming down at the moment, but that tornado warning has expired there for Clay County as we're monitoring the situation. Back to radar view, and we are looking at severe thunderstorm warning in place that does include a broader area. Keep in mind, with these severe thunderstorm warnings, more areas impacted as opposed to a tornado, which is more localized, but that is now in effect here for Clay County, and that's a lot of what we're going to see. A lot of rain, some gusty winds, some of the heaviest of the rain. You see those purples in there? That is stretching from near Lineville, that High Pine Road. There it is right there. There's High Pine. You can see south and west of Ashland. But there's Shiloh, Mellow Valley, and this is crossing right there to Highway 49. So Highway 77 to Highway 49, Shiloh, that's where some of the strongest winds at the moment are now crossing into Clay County. Let's go to the velocity, and still seeing very broad rotational signatures there. No indications of something trying to really tighten up to produce a tornado at this point. So hopefully that trend will continue. Let's look at it from another view. We'll check it out from Montgomery, and there's actually a better view. And you can see there this is moving towards the Corinth area. I mentioned Highway 49, but a lot of wind in here. That one area where we saw that little bit of spin, see right in there? Still showing up. That's right around Highway 9. I mentioned Delta earlier was included in the tornado warning. We're not in the severe thunderstorm warning. That is just south, but there's still some very, very broad rotation that's showing up. See there? Weak rotation that's in this area. So I think this severe thunderstorm warning covers it well. As this moves to the east, Liberty, Milner areas over here in Randolph County, be ready in case another severe thunderstorm warning is issued, expanded onto the east. We're going to stay with you here and give you that first alert for these storms as they move through. And we've had some reports coming in out of Perry County. Again, if you're just now joining us, we had some damage north and west of Marion. We'll effort to get you some more of those scenes coming in there from West Alabama. We have teams in place to bring us some of those reports coming in from West Alabama. At the moment, what you're seeing here across southeastern Perry County, we're watching for those reports. I'm seeing a lot of reports of just gusty winds, heavy rainfall that's been stretching from what's happening here back into places like Sylacauga. And this is the last of the storms, at least in the short term. On the broader picture, we are seeing some more weather happening back. Do we still have radar pulled up on Max 3? I had the radar view pulled up. Meteorologist Lauren Linehan standing by. Lauren, I want to see if you can back that view up on Max to see what's happening back in the Mississippi. I was seeing some reports on some communication from back in here. Notice what's going on. We're seeing more storms that are starting to develop back in across South Mississippi. So that second wave is going to lift in. I know several counties have been trimmed away from the watch, but there's still tornado watches back to the west of us, and want to give you that first alert that later on today, this evening, that we could see more storms and another watch that could be issued to include parts of our area. So this is far from over just because we're seeing some counties being trimmed away. There's just going to be a prolonged kind of gap in that tornado risk for right now. But we could see those conditions make a return. Notice there's a tornado warning close to, not far from Ozark, down in the South Alabama. So we're seeing there's not far from Union Springs, but there's one there south of Tuskegee. That is around Davisville, and that is moving towards Society Hill, Creek Stand. Back this out just a little bit, Lauren. I want to see where this is with respect to Auburn. For folks there watching, there's Smith Station, there's Columbus. So yeah, from the Auburn area back towards Smith Station and back towards Columbus, you may want to help spread spread the word to share, text, call if you have family, friends, loved ones down in this area to watch. We still have some tornadic storms down into the southeastern part of the state, but this is moving over towards Crawford. Again, this is south of our area. We have severe thunderstorm warning now for Chambers County. Has been added. That's that one storm that's moving out of Tallapoosa County, and that is moving in now towards 5 Points and over towards the Waverly, Alabama areas to the far south and east. A lot of this, again, is really bottled up in the far southeast part of our coverage area, again, at the moment. And very soon, we should have that severe storm that's over Clay County. We should have that move out. We're going to go back to Lauren, though, here shortly. She's looking at some of that data for later on tonight and what we can expect, and we're going to get an update on the forecast. Fred, go ahead.
I think this is what you were asking about, Wes, so I have kind of backed it out, and this shows not just the clouds but the rain as well, and you can see that line, but this is what Wes is talking about. You see, as you get back into Louisiana and Mississippi and right here along the Alabama-Mississippi line, you can see that rain that is redeveloping, so that includes these areas up here in northwest Alabama, so we could see some additional flooding, and you see the moisture goes all the way back, so this is well ahead of the cold front. So that's what Wes was talking about is, yes, that first line of severe storms is moving out of Alabama, but right now we're seeing redevelopment of some storms. They may stay below severe limits, but they are going to be capable of producing quite a bit of rain, Wes, so that may add to the flooding concerns as we go into the overnight hours. And as we always say, be especially careful overnight because it's harder to tell when water covers the roadways. Keep your headlights on, keep the windshield wipers on, slow down, increase the following distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and of course, stay tuned right here if there are additional flood watches and warnings issued. By the way, Wes, let me update this very quickly. I'm sorry, but we do have flood advisories now. I should point this out. We've had some flooding pictures from the Hoover area, but you can see the areas here from basically East Walker County down to the Tuscaloosa County line and north up toward Blount County, Aniana and Sneed. And that is a flood advisory, which is in effect right now. That includes, of course, Blount County, Jefferson County included in that flood advisory. So this concern with flooding may actually be verifying as we go through the evening hours. So a flood advisory for this area that you can see bounded by the green here from basically up here at Sneed's Crossroads on down to the south, and that includes Jefferson, parts of Shelby County, Wes.
All right, Fred, so one severe thunderstorm warning. We're going to hold on here a minute. This has been one of those days where we have seen one warning pop up after things kind of settle down. Then we get another tornado warning, so we want to wait. I hate to jump off, and then we have another tornado warning that's issued for Clay County. Let's watch that storm as it moves through here. We still see kind of a weak rotation with this now as this moves to the east direction around Lineville and then pushing in towards Liberty. So soon we'll get this more suspicious part of the storm out of Clay County and then into Randolph County. Meteorologist Lauren Linehan standing by. And Lauren, I know I've talked about this. You've been taking a close look, updating our evening forecast data and talking about what's on the way for later on tonight. What's some of the new model data? We got some of that new data coming in. What's that telling us right now?
Hey, Wes. Well, I don't want anyone to let their guard down because we are likely going to be seeing another round of storms moving in for tonight. Now, the tornado watch we have in place now, it's in effect until 5 p.m. Central Time, but it's not out of the question that we could see another watch issued tonight because that severe threat isn't going to be over just because it stops raining where you are. There's going to be more rounds coming in into the overnight hours. So right now, that main threat area south and east of Birmingham across East Alabama and our county to the south. But as we go into the overnight hours, there is going to be that secondary round of storms that comes in. So let's look at our latest futurecast data showing the storms that are coming in right now, pushing south and eastward, making their way into Georgia and southeast Alabama. And then notice here we are at 7 o'clock tonight. You can see activity looks a little bit quieter. One thing I do want to point out, as Fred was just mentioning, there likely is going to be a flooding threat, especially areas south and east. I think that's where we're likely going to be seeing training thunderstorms setting up. That's just when thunderstorms come in one right after the other, like you're sitting at a train track and watching a train go by, each of those train cars coming in one after the other. A similar thing can happen with thunderstorms, and when that happens, you do see that flooding potential. It's not out of the question areas south and east. Some of our southeast counties closer to that I-85-280 corridor could potentially pick up 2 to 4 inches of rain. So we've got the flooding threat going into the evening, and then you see here we are around 8-9 o'clock. It's a little bit quieter, but tonight you've got to make sure you have a loud way to receive weather alerts, whether that be your NOAA weather radio, the WBRC First Alert weather app. If you have both, that's even better. But what we're going to notice is that next round coming in, and as these storms develop overnight, there's still likely going to be enough juice in the atmosphere to support creating some robust storms. So we still can't rule out tonight that potential for damaging wind gusts as this line begins to come through, and the scattered thunderstorms out ahead of it also have that potential to still rotate. You have to watch for supercells, those rotating thunderstorms that could have a tornado risk associated with them. So this is 3 a.m. in the morning. We're not quite done yet. So even though we're looking drier for Wednesday, for the first few hours of the day, at least up until sunrise, we've still got storms to deal with. So as we get closer to 5 a.m., I think we'll be able to begin to sound the all clear in West Alabama, but areas along and east of I-65, you've still got to be paying attention to the weather even early into the morning. And for the morning commute, the one spot that I think maybe we could still see some lingering rain around would be that I-85-280 corridor in our southeast counties, which is why, Wes, we have been saying and stressing that we want to make sure that you're not just focused on the fact that this could be a damaging wind and tornado risk, but a flooding risk. This certainly is not the type of weather you want to drive around in.
That's right, and yeah, it looks like the timing has really pushed back on this. So we're now talking even after midnight, we're probably going to be right here tracking some of this weather moving through the coverage area. So this is round number 1, and more of this active weather. That's the thing, with this round kind of getting in and out of here, the air still has some time to even recover even further going into the evening hours tonight. But what we're tracking right now, we had this storm. It was a severe thunderstorm that was over into Clay County, and what we're going to do is we're going to send this back to regular programming. The Weather Service, they are watching Pike County. They're also continuing severe thunderstorm warnings for Chambers and Tallapoosa counties at this time. But you can see as we look at the setup here for Clay County, watching this radar, watching the storm, looks like that warning has expired there, and the worst of this storm now pushing out of Clay County and moving into parts of Randolph County. Some heavier rainfall. The severe warnings that we see at this time are in areas further south, but a lot of rain. Looks like now we're catching some breaks here around Birmingham. You can see that flood advisory, but it looks like around the Birmingham area that the heaviest of the rain has now pushed off to the south and east. Gadsden to Anniston, just a good soaking, nothing severe at the moment, but there's that one storm that was causing some problems. It has weakened, and now that is moving into Randolph County. Let's take that off, and again, we don't see at this point indications there that we have a tornado with that at this point. Just some gusty winds, heavy rain, a lot of rain around Chilton County still. Steady rain impacting the drive on 65. We have scattered showers going on back into parts of West Alabama, and there's going to be more storms and rain that we're watching back into Mississippi. So break in the action right now. What we're going to do is we're going to send it back to regular programming. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt, right now no active warnings in effect for our area. We still have a few watches out there to the east. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll be right back at 4 o'clock. Weather every 6 minutes coming up on WBRC Fox 6 News. Stay with us on air and online and on the WBRC First Alert Weather app.